Yeah, that's the one rule. So if you got any of those in your back pocket, just keep them there.
Yeah, we'll keep those ones. We'll keep those ones there.
You think you can keep them together? Yeah. Other than that, no rules. Feel free to say shoot your mind.
Nice.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
We appreciate you guys making the trip out. We know it was. What time did you guys fly out today?
Well, Chris was a little earlier than me.
5 a.m.
He met me actually in Atlanta.
Yeah.
So you flew from
Back Des Moines.
Des Moines.
Yeah, flew to Atlanta. And then east
There's
to go
not
west.
There's not a direct.
Not from Des Moines. No, Des Moines. You got like Denver, somewhere in Texas, Detroit.
So you got to pick and choose.
Yeah. MSP. I pretty much always go to MSP. I think we chose this flight so that we landed at the same time, though.
I forget. I mean, we were organizing this. We were just quickly texting.
Yeah.
And he looked at flights, and I was looking at flights. I said, "Wait, that's the same time as mine. And you must be in Atlanta.
Just
for
jump
your
on
layover."
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
bright and early. How was it? How far is the flight? 4 hours? 5 hours? To Vegas?
About
No,
four.
340.
3 something.
340.
You guys hate the airport as much as I do?
Yeah, I try to get in and out as quick as we can.
Yeah.
You probably fly a lot more than I do, though.
Maybe. I mean, generally it's about once a month.
Ugh. Yeah, I hate it.
Des Moines is nice because
Gross.
it's so small.
Yeah.
I kind of get in a good program. It's like I roll out of bed 30 minutes before I board,
No way.
and then I kind of had to fly this morning to get there, and I was the last one on the plane. But I was like, I didn't have a bag, or I could just have my backpack, and I just zip right on.
Yeah,
you
that's
park
nice.
security at the gate in 10 minutes, maybe.
That's nice.
So
Yeah.
it's like
It's like when I was in college in Missoula, Montana. Back when
Yeah.
Missoula was actually a lot smaller than it is now. But coming from
nothing.
here and going there, it's like, man, I can roll to this airport 20 minutes before the flight takes off.
Yep.
This is great.
Yep.
It's like
Yeah.
10-minute security lines. Until
Yeah.
you get caught with a gun. in
Porter always
security.
makes me nervous. I would fly with Porter. He's like, I will be fine.
He's missed so many flights. It's
I
actually incredible.
I
how
can
many
imagine
flights
he's missed a lot of
Yeah.
flights. Yeah, I'm always early, and that's part of the reason I hate the
Yeah, I
airport.
try,
So I'm
I
just
try to
sitting
get there early enough to like get in, I'll hop in a lounge and just get some work done, clear emails out, and then hop on the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Colby, you like to work, huh?
That's pretty much all I do.
We should give some introductions.
Does
We've
his
got-
sound good with that microphone that far away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Is that one not?
Yeah, I was working on it earlier. Is that better?
Yeah.
It works pretty good, but it's not perfect.
That one's
Yeah.
a little wonky.
I think
you
we
got
have
the
the
wonky
same
one.
one. It's very directional.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we have Colby Hanley, Ultraview. What's your actual title? Owner?
Technically, I guess.
Founder?
Founder, CEO, head potato in charge, whatever.
free intern.
Yeah.
Head honcho.
I bounce around all over the org chart.
Yeah.
Depending on how I feel. Yeah.
Gotcha. But you started it, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
About 6.5 years ago now.
You just were showing us some pictures earlier.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
wild.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
You look stressed in that photo.
Yeah. It was a photo of, well, the business started with a single $500 3D printer. Everybody still thinks our stuff's 3D printed. And so we started with one printer, and I justified purchasing that printer while a student in college because I was going to sell enough gadgets, archery gadgets, off that printer just to pay for the printer. So the picture was a room about this size with a rack of shelves and like a dozen 3D printers on it. That was like 6 months after I bought the first printer, and I just needed more and more and more because more people were interested in the gadgets. And so my buddy George let me borrow his basement, and I set up shop for the summer, and it was like the most fun. Like it was.
I was gonna say you probably were less stressed
Oh
in
my
that photo.
god, it was so much fun.
You want to go back?
There's
Every
no
day
expectation and no risk when it's that
Yeah.
level. It's just like, yeah, whatever.
A fun little project, right?
Oh yeah, I mean, I sunk my teeth into it. It was literally like a drug. Like I just couldn't get enough of it. And I mean, it became pretty. You were involved very, very early.
Well, I took that photo, which is the funny
Yeah.
part. Yeah.
You took the photo?
Yeah.
So you've been involved since the beginning.
Oh yeah.
It was only like a year or 6 months where
wonder-
it wasn't. Yeah.
You updated
Really?
your contact info.
That actually makes that picture even cooler.
Yeah. So I took the. It was like literally. I remember I was like, I'm just gonna like take some random photos, like sort of that deal.
Oh yeah, because you sent me the memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
He
then
got
Bruce-
a 6-year memory, and he checked.
You're the
10 of them
content
to me.
guy. You
Yeah,
knew what you
yeah.
were doing. Yeah. Yeah.
And then Bruce was in it too, which is super funny.
His old contact photo before Apple did their update, and you could like select your own photo. For the longest time, I had a really silly looking picture of Chris with like Einstein looking hair in the basement with like Beats headphones on, just looking tired. And that's awesome. I'll have to show you guys later.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Where would that have been? Like, where was that in the country?
Atlanta. I mean, just a suburb.
What
of
were you doing in
Atlanta.
Atlanta?
In
What
the
were you
summer
doing?
times, I would go down for like months at a time.
To do what? What were you doing down there?
Working. I mean, I worked on my own stuff and helped Ultraview and
Yeah,
he's
I
doing
mean,
Ultraview.
so we met competing together. That's where we like first crossed paths on like the USA archery circuit. And so we had known kind of each other and had spent time around each other. And then
Who was better?
We both beat
Yeah,
each
we
other
were
several
both
times.
like,
Ooh.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
It was like
100%.
battling for 1 and 2 for several years.
Who would win
but
now if we walked out the warehouse? You got
Definitely Chris. I'll let Chris take this one.
both your bows.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
shoot a little bit more now. Than
Are you
Kolby.
competitive though? Would you put up a fight?
I can
You can-
reel off
Probably
a
for
score.
30
You can
arrows.
sling.
You
You
get
put 30 arrows
together.
through me, I'll reel off a really good score, but then
Then it tapers off
Then I
quick.
start to think about it a little bit, and then
Yeah.
it starts to drop, and it takes about 2 or 3 weeks for the scores to start coming back up.
Gotcha.
So we knew of each other, and then when I happened to start my side hustle business, I needed some assets, marketing ideas, video ideas. I did a startup competition on campus, and it required you to pitch, and I wanted a video. And so I remember I called you up and I said, "Hey man, I got a crazy idea. I need some help with some content. I think I actually sent you the stuff at first.
Yeah,
and you just did it.
I still have it.
Yeah. Chris did a great job. He was fully on board, and then we just naturally started working together. I mean, how me and Chris, Ultraview and Chris work together now is very similar to how we worked together back then. It was just, much smaller scale.
We really push each other. I think that's the thing. It's like you put yourself around good people, and we were both building businesses, but we
For sure.
very much helped each other along the way.
Yeah, and we'll both if he's got something going on behind the scenes, he'll bounce it off me. If I got something going on, I'll bounce it off him. So
Yeah, it just kind of all worked out.
Yeah.
In a
It's
cool
nice
way.
to have those networks.
Yeah, for
Really
sure.
good.
How much are you in contact, like day to day? How much do you guys talk
well,
every
it
day?
depends. Is it hunting season or not?
Love that.
Every day, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Yeah, we'll at least text every day. We call frequently. I mean, just work stuff or
Yeah.
whatever else.
I have.
Because how many days are you each hunting? Because I know you hunt a shitload.
I do
He's
100 plus
exponentially
days.
more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I
your
mean
level
that.
of
I'll only go on hunts if Ultraview requires it for content and stuff.
I want Chris's job. That's what I'm working for.
My background is very much the target side, and I love the engineering, product development. Making the equipment,
Yeah.
knowing, being really in tune with people like you guys on what you need, what you want, and I hyper fixate and focus on that.
I will say since day one that has shown through. Since the day I met you, that guy, he's in it. That's what we always talk
Yeah, from
about.
the first
you
time I
were
met
just-
Kolby, I was like, this
you
guy
were
is
so in it,
he's
which is
inquisitive.
awesome.
Yeah.
This is actually a story I wanted to tell. Is the first time I met Trail was in Utah on the tack shoot, and I'm like, "Who is this guy? Why is he in our group?"
Because I invited you.
Who is this tool? He can't shoot.
And then, 5 targets in, I'm like, son of a bitch, this guy's always in the middle of these targets. He knows what he's doing.
I had a day.
Yeah, you were
You had a
going.
good day?
off.
Was it a
That's-
good showing?
Oh
yeah,
my
it was
gosh.
it. It was it.
That's the
Well,
trail I know.
Yeah, I mean, I
Look at
show
us.
up, and then Chris is like, "Hey, do you want to come shoot with us?" And I'm like, "Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm totally into that." And then we got Kolby jumping. And I know Kolby likes to
Yeah.
shoot, and he's a good shot. And I was like, I guess I have to.
Guess you got to show
I have
up.
to
Yeah,
get my
I
shot.
related every.
Yeah, I,
remember
gotta
that,
be- I told you that. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can see how this works. I shoot by myself all the time. It's the reason I never get any better.
Everyone
I'm
was
just
on high
always the
alert
same.
that
But
day.
yeah, you shoot with people that are better than you. It's like,
Yeah.
what's the
I'm
saying?
happy you made us proud. It's awesome.
Yeah, I shot pretty good. I didn't end up winning out. I mean, they ended
But
up
still, I
they ended
mean-
up taking up. But for a few targets, I was doing all right.
And there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you
like it.
No one actually. This is the first time you probably didn't even know this, but 2/3 through the round, I was standing behind you, diligently watching you, your
Yeah.
execution, your form, really watching you do your thing. Wow, this guy knows what he's doing.
thanks, man.
And ever since that day, I'm I've had a lot of respect for you and what you do,
That's
and
awesome.
then I've dug into go hunting more and
I'll pay
learned
you
all
later.
about what you guys are doing. So yeah, but
Under the table.
That was a paid for marketing spot right
yeah,
there.
a trail endorsement.
Sick.
Right
Nobody's
there.
ever said that,
Yeah.
so I'm soaking
Yeah.
it up. No,
But
that's awesome.
I mean, I'm a engineering nerd, still am very into the.
Where's that come from?
Dude,
you know?
it's got to be baked into my genetics. I have
Are
no
your
idea.
parents?
No, like
No?
I'm just a random one-off nerd.
Really?
Your dad's handy though. He's,
yeah.
He's
Dad's
always
a
doing
handyman.
stuff.
He's
Yeah.
into like, I will say my dad, I think, taught me work ethic and the quality of work and effort and quality of work. You know, he was a carpenter building like homes. Now he does a lot of like fine cabinetry work. So I worked with him over the summer. But I've always been interested in like what things are made out of, how they work. And when I was shooting my bow nonstop every day, like on the target circuit, I was getting, you know, I made my own strings. Like I would deconstruct a bow, put it back. I could not learn enough about archery, which if you think about it, it's really a great sport for just mechanical engineering because
Yeah.
so much equipment that's very technical, requires a lot of machining and high tolerances. You got to know kind of how things are made to do it well.
For sure.
Yeah, I remember Kolby. He would make strings without any serving on them,
That's
just
controversial.
to try them, and then
And you were shooting them?
How'd it go?
I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
no
I mean,
servings around the
I
camp.
wouldn't necessarily recommend it, you know, for bow hunting.
How fast were you chewing through strings?
Not too fast.
Not that fast?
No.
No.
I
Really?
would do it on, and I still do if I make my own set of strings, which I never do anymore. I shoot the stock ones, and they never go bad because I don't shoot enough anymore. But
Yeah, really
on
interesting.
my target setups, I would do natural strings. You know, no color, no wax.
Extra strands?
A couple extra, yeah.
Gotcha.
And then no serving on the string. Just that much center serving.
Wow.
It was
I
phenomenal.
would not. I didn't even know how that would work.
But I mean, that's
just
core.
works. That's the thing.
Really?
It's just.
And that's
You had
core to like
something over-
Ultraview. Like we try to find creative. Whenever we get into something, we really start. There's a colloquial saying, you know, start with a blank canvas or start from the ground up. Like we literally do that, and we don't look at. We do look at what's out there after the fact in the design process because you have to be aware of what's out there. But when we're really starting, it's called phase 0, you know, of our design process, is we literally start with a blank canvas. And we bring in people like Chris. I mean, I'm always texting you ideas too, asking for your feedback. And I'm like, what do you desire? What are your goals? What are the objectives? What are your user needs? What are your pain points? And then we attack them, we come up with ideas, and then we'll start figuring out how can we make this work, right? And you know, that's baked into Slider is we didn't start, a sliding sight's a very complicated piece of equipment. And we realized very quickly that ease of use with a sliding sight is like priority number 1. And so when you go through that actual design process, you really hone in on what feature sets are really important to the user. And then from the ground up, if you design your product's architecture to meet those needs, it's going to be a much better product in the end. And that's a little, you know, behind the scenes, I guess, look on some of our like processes on how we develop our products.
Yeah.
What was the first product you guys designed? Did you had a 3D printer?
Well,
what were you printing
it was
on?
your
it?
little light
this is
thing.
actually a whole
Yeah.
other story too. So the name Ultraview
Yeah.
comes from really the first real like big time gadget we sold. It was a light kit for really 3D shooting, like competitive 3D shooting. I had just moved down to Atlanta to, you know, finish my engineering degree at Georgia Tech, and the Southeast is full of 3D shoots. Every weekend you can go find one to shoot. So I was just hitting up 3D ranges, and I started setting up my sights, and I had to buy lights, and it was horrible. And I hated the up pin. I just loved a lens with just a sticker dot or a piece of fiber because I didn't like the obstruction. And so I bought a ultraviolet pen light off of Amazon, and I literally like taped it to the side of my riser, and I would kind of turn it on and it would light up the dot, and I didn't need an up pin. And then I was spending so much time in the like 3D printing labs and maker labs on campus. I then started like deconstructing the light, making a mount for the light, the own battery pack so it could sit on the side of the sight. And so I would buy these. They were $19.99 Amazon pen lights, packs at a time, deconstruct them all, like 3D print battery kits and wire, solder them all together. And it used ultraviolet light mounted on top of your scope, and it shined into the middle of the scope. And it used ultraviolet light to help you see better. And we were coming up with the name of it. And actually, this is from George, too. I remember he texted me. He's like, ooh, I got it. Ultraview. Ultraviolet light.
He lays claim to it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I'll give him full credit on the name.
Nice.
And so, but all
a great
right,
name.
that's it.
It is a great name.
But that was for the light kit. And so funny. This was when Facebook Live was like a thing. And their algorithm prioritized live videos, and you could get a lot of traction. And this is just pure luck. George is like, let's put up a Facebook Live and tell the world what we got going on here. And so I'm like, all right. So I very quickly put together an Etsy store. The only online platform I knew how to sell things was through Etsy. And I'll give it to him. It was actually a really good storefront for small business. So
Even in the archery world, huh?
Well, you just give them a link, they'll go to the link.
Huh.
Yeah. So I made an Etsy store, and we went live, and the caption was, check this out, available now, put the link in it. That video took off. And overnight, I sold a whopping, 35, 40 units, but I only had enough parts to make 5 or 10. And I'm like, holy shit. Like, I have all
So
these.
you were buying them from Amazon, deconstructing them to get the light thing, and then putting that in.
And this is when I started to lose my sanity, because I was like, holy shit, I have all of these people, I have their money, I got their order, I don't have enough parts to make everything. I still really haven't figured out, production, like long-term things. So then I'm like, all right, I scramble. I bought more inventory, started, got another printer, started cranking them out, and, started filling orders. And then ever since then, that snowball's grown bigger, and we still have the same thing. I mean,
I have some in the shop.
Still like
the
it?
little like clips, and I still have some.
Yeah, and so ever since then, it's been like we need to sell as much as we can to buy more inventory to sell more. That's the same game we've been playing for 6.5 years, just bigger. Yeah.
Were you recruiting Chris to help you build light kits?
You probably put a couple together. I don't
You
know.
getting all your buddies together?
I remember cleaning parts was a thing. 3D
Oh,
printing
you'd
cleaning.
cut your fingers all the time. I have so many scars. Like there's one right here because I'd use razor blades to clean up all the 3D prints. My hands are sliced to pieces because of that.
Oh, I'm sure.
It was a thing, and that's when Brewer Zach Harris was around. Kolby would print a bunch of parts and throw them in a 5-gallon like Home Depot bucket, and it's support material is what it's called.
Right.
So when it prints, it needs there's certain parts that you gotta like pop out.
So
fires and
literally, like
stuff.
I would run.
Yeah. George's
It's a
kids
wonder
did it
I'm
too.
still sane. Like literally, I had my dorm room full of 3D printers. So much so.
You're living in a dorm?
It was like an apartment dorm type
You got
thing.
roommates?
Yeah. So we blocked off.
Are they loving this? Are they just like,
Well,
what
actually, I
in
had
the
one
actual
roommate that
hell is
wasn't
he
such a fan, but all the others were all in. And we literally blocked off the AC vent of everybody's room, so the only one that was open was mine because they gave off so much heat. My room was like 110 degrees.
Oh, wow.
And I would run prints, and like a print time was like 6 hours or something like that. So I'd start them before I went to bed and like set timers for like 4 in the morning, 3 in the morning to clean it, run a new print. So the printers were constantly running. I would fill a 5-gallon bucket of parts, run them all week, and then every Friday I'd go see Zach at the Archery
You'd carry
Learning
them
Center.
across campus down to his car.
I'd give him a part of fresh prints. He'd give me clean prints, and I could not wait to lock myself in my room from Friday to Sunday and just fulfill orders. I would use all my free printing not to print out like essays, but to print shipping labels on campus.
Oh, wow.
And so,
Man.
I would.
So that's your weekend.
Yeah. I would
Your
lock
college
myself
experience
in.
and mine are vastly
Very different. Very different. Yes.
You weren't home on a Saturday?
I can't honestly even explain how different our college experiences were.
Oh my gosh, it was so much fun. Like I couldn't.
How long did you do that? Did you graduate?
Well, the story I kind of just told, I did that for about a semester until it got big enough to where we went to the basement, the picture I showed you, and I would then drive off campus, and the business was kind of separate from my campus life. But I did that for about 3
from your
semesters.
dorm.
Well, what's funny
Unreal.
is he had those bunk beds, where it's like the bed was only up on top. And then all underneath, he had cardboard and like soundboard foam
Actually,
over it.
if you go to you just said you were looking at his old videos.
I have that.
Yeah.
If you go to his old videos, you can see me like geeking out being all weird.
like little windows in the cardboard so you can check on them at night. And
How was your dating life in college?
I was just going to get into that.
Sounds incredible.
Funny enough you say
Kolby
that
Slade.
because
Just cutting a wide swath.
I knew I met the right girl when I showed her what I was doing, and she was pumped up about it. And I remember, like, I was nervous at the time. It was in the back of the archery shop. I had a first date with her, and it went well. And
Did you go to the archery shop for your first date?
No, it wasn't the archery shop, but it was very shortly after. Yeah. I remember I was really nervous bringing her in because it wasn't anything pretty, and I brought her in, and like it was so cool to see that like she really believed, in what I was doing, and it wasn't like, what are you doing here? Like this is kind of gross. Like that toilet's disgusting. Like, and she like, I could tell that she believed in like the vision and what I was doing. And you know, now that I obviously know her and her family and her upbringing and all that, it makes a lot of sense. But like that was kind of special for me. So my dating life was great. Yeah.
I mean, as you spend any time around you can. It doesn't take that long to kind of see that there's something pretty unique about you, like the way that your brain works, the way that you speak. I mean, you sat down here for 10 minutes and you were like, "Oh, what's this? Did you guys have these custom built?" And you're like playing with them, tinkering with them, things. You can tell pretty quick that you've got something going.
My mother-in-law always makes fun of me because we'll be at a dinner, like a family dinner, and I'll be like analyzing the placemat and trying to like running through the scenarios in my head and how they manufactured the placemat at dinner.
Is that exhausting?
There's something wrong with me. Like I'm mildly autistic or something. I don't know.
You get tired? Is that exhausting? Do you just constantly?
He gets tired.
I bet.
I'm working on this a lot, but I will run myself like almost to death.
Yeah.
So this is another Ultraview story.
funny
Another Ultraview story is around the same time of, you know, our back of the archery shop basement side hustle. I was doing a side hustle business, getting an engineering degree at Georgia Tech, which in itself is a lot for most people. Doing undergraduate research on campus in a very advanced battery lab. That professor actually now has like a $5 billion company in California making batteries.
Because of what you guys did, probably.
Yeah, because a lot of what we did, I guess.
You're like, damn it, my love for archery. I could have been making batteries.
And I was working nights downtown. I was broke, like a broke ass college. I shouldn't have bought that 3D printer. And the only reason why I did is because I'm like, okay, I'm going to sell enough gadgets off of here just to pay for it because I want one. And so I was doing all of that, and I would literally sleep like 4 hours, and my diet was horrible. I would buy once a week. I would go to Walmart, and they would have in the open cooler section, they would have shipments of like what were supposed to be frozen burritos on like clearance because they needed to move them. So it was a 3,200 calorie burrito for 50 cents.
Even you picking out burritos
just makes sense. It honestly just makes sense.
You're looking for the most calories
So
for the least amount of money.
I would do that. I would have a maybe Chris, maybe I am mildly autistic.
Hilarious.
I would have a pack in the local Walmart, which was right next to the archery shop. I would spend like $36 on groceries a week, and I would know the exact path and the exact thing that I would grab. And I was pretty much just eating these burritos, like one at like 10:30 in the morning and like one at 8 o'clock at night. And after about a couple weeks of doing that, I'm like, George, like I'm
back.
I'm
back up. No,
I'm like, dude, my like heart is going off. Like randomly throughout the day, my heart will literally just be like. And he's like, you have to go get that checked out. And he made me all nervous about it.
Yeah.
And I went down to I scheduled like kind of like a emergency visit at like the emergency care or something. And they hooked me up to the EKG thing. And I remember the doctor came in. She's like, so what you got going on? And everything I just told you, I kind of told her. She looked me in the eyes. She said, honey, you got to slow down. And so at about that time, I'm like, okay, I can probably get rid of one of these four things. So I no longer worked nights downtown and just spent more time on the Ultraview thing. And that was, I mean, it was still I still will like work myself into like the ground. And
So was it the burritos or is it the amount of work you were doing?
Stress.
I mean, it was
Both.
just kind of
It's back-
We say it's the burritos.
It was
yeah.
burritos for sure.
it was definitely had something to do with sodium in the burrito for sure.
Yeah, a lot of
So
salt.
I mean, literally like blood, sweat, and tears. You know,
Yeah.
with Ultraview, and it's fun when you come out with products like 1K. I was reading his YouTube comments on them, which I should never do.
Yeah.
All the guys in there are like, you and
Oh, we
Chris
should,
are,
actually.
are
We love it.
privileged and come from money, and it's
Yeah.
like, came both Chris and I didn't, we
Yeah.
didn't come from high castle money,
6-year overnight success, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
6-year overnight success. Yeah.
Longer than that, because even you've been shooting, you've
Well-
been doing your foundation longer than that.
And that's the thing I think a lot of people don't really realize. With both Chris and I are like we're 2 days apart.
Yeah.
You're April 29th.
Yeah, and, yeah.
I'm May 1st, 97. Like
Oh,
we're both 27 years old.
Yeah.
But from, I mean,
like
you
the
got
year I
into
graduated.
archery before I did.
That month.
What's that?
You got into archery before me,
Yeah.
but we had been shooting and networking within the industry for 10 years before Ultraview or your YouTube thing was even real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, by the time we really started anything, we already knew a lot of people, had a lot of great relationships lined up, and that's what really accelerated it.
Yeah, well,
course,
and
yeah.
you also knew the products and you knew the holes, right? Like you really only can see those if you're in it, and I mean all the way in it. Those like little things that you look at and you're like, man, this could be better. This should be better. This could be different.
Yeah.
Like you about have to live in that day in and day out. It's like, I mean, I take calls all the time. It's like this Western big game application process across the West. It's enormous. And I talk to people all the time and they're just like, how do you know that off the top of your head? And it's just like, I don't know. I'm in it
You're in
all
literally
the
every day.
time.
Yeah.
I'm always looking at it.
Well, it's like one of the things, I think it was actually that same TAC that you were at. We were at TAC, and of course you can't go to an event with Chris because you get dragged by every other person, right?
You can't do anything
and
productive.
And so I just stand there as he's getting his pictures taken. But one of the guys came up, he said, "Hey man, it looks like you pulled XYZ tag this year. Congrats or whatever." I'm like Chris, how does this guy know that? And he's like, "Oh, I put it up on my story or something." And I'm like, "How many times did you put that up on your story?" And he's like, "Just once." And I'm like, "So you're telling me you put this, you pulled this tag on your story and it was on there for 24 hours and you have this guy come up that knows that you did this."
For sure.
And those are those are the people that are plugged in.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
those are our people, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
But like you're saying, Trell, not only do you do this every day, but you're also a participant in it.
Yeah, and
with
that's
the
really where
applications.
I think
Exactly.
that's where the secret sauce is.
Because if you weren't the participant in it, you wouldn't memorize it like you do. It would just
It has to be what you're into personally. It's
exactly.
like a personal passion as well, because that's where you like start to see like what could be better, what could be different,
Correct.
what works,
Yeah.
what doesn't work.
Yeah.
You kind of like start to see the little intricacies of the ins
everything
and outs of it. Yeah,
and how to play it.
yeah.
It's almost like a sixth sense.
It is.
Like I was
For sure.
telling the guys at work the other day, I'm like, Chris just has like a sixth sense with what's good or not good or what looks good or what works or what doesn't work. Like you may not be able to articulate exactly why it's good or why it works. you just
work
know,
on your communication
right?
skills.
Well, it's funny because obviously as Ultraview grows, well, when it was just COVID, I'd be like, this sucks. Like, we can't do this. But Ultraview grows, and it's like, yeah, we got to learn how to, like, work together and come out with these new products and everything. So a big learning curve for me was like, all right, we got, like, actually these real engineers and these real people. And
Chris-
it's like, I
Chris
can't just come in and be
Chris would,
like,
like,
guys,
crush-
all this stuff.
Chris would like crush dreams. like he would.
I think
Yeah,
Chris
so-
and I are kindred spirits. You sound just like me.
Yeah.
Our
so
poor
I'm
guy
better-
Kevin here.
I try to be better at it daily,
Yeah.
but,
Yeah.
it's, and I think as a team, we work really well now.
Yeah.
But yeah, at first is funny.
Were you guys competitive with each other pretty early, like when you were shooting?
Yeah, I
growing
mean,
up.
I hated
did you-
seeing
did
his
you
name
like
on
each
the
other?
scorecard.
So I don't think I really dislike Kolby, but Kolby definitely disliked me.
Really?
I tell that story a couple times,
Yeah.
like, because I was just like, he was, I don't know, I'm a pretty competitive guy, and I'm from Vermont originally. Chris is from Michigan. Most people probably know that, and I couldn't get out and travel much, so I was just constantly seeing like this Chris B kid's name on all of these.
And
these
it's a good name.
scores.
So it's
It is
kind
a
of,
good
it's,
and like
yeah.
and
I mean,
like
it's got a nice
national
ring.
event. Chris was always on the top, and I would practice a lot, and I'd
That was
only
before you really started traveling.
right.
Yeah.
That was before I was in it enough to really travel. Like I wasn't good enough at first to justify because both my parents work full-time jobs. I got a job at 11 sorting bottles at the local store to pay for my archery obsession. So I literally had to pay for myself and my grandma to go to events because I couldn't rent a car. So anyway.
So your grandma had to go with you to drive?
Yes.
And you had to pay her way too. She's like, I'll go, but you're buying. You're paying.
So I'm seeing this kid's name because he was in it before me. And I'm seeing this kid's name on all these scores. I'm like, who the hell's this kid? Who's this crispy kid? So like, before I even met Chris, I'm like, he's my arch nemesis.
You built it up in your head. You're like Jordan in the last dance. You're making up stories in your head about
I didn't even know what he
him.
looked like. You know,
He's like, he's a devil.
yeah. And so probably through high school, and by the time we were in college, like we were cordial. And,
for sure,
and fine.
I mean,
but definitely through high school, I was like, gotta beat this kid. I gotta beat this kid. Like, who's this Chris guy?
Yeah.
And it was funny. His dad is crispy too. And your dad would compete.
Yeah.
Like, he's competing in 2 divisions. What's this guy doing?
He's that good.
You really did have it built up in your head.
Oh yeah, going a little crazy.
He
for
shoots
sure.
youth and adult.
Yeah.
God, that's wild. That's crazy. What? So from you did the light, and then did you always have in your mind like, I want to make this more, or was it just like, I'm going to do this light thing?
We're building the plane in the air, man. I'm hoping we have landing gear when we have to land. Because to the light, it was.
I think it was in Venture Prize. I'd talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So in Venture Prize,
which is super cool.
Yeah, that was very much like a blessing.
Sure.
You know, when I look back on my life, like there's several very distinct things that I'm just like, that has to be like the perfect time. It's just a little weird, you know? So in Venture Prize, that's another whole story, which that actually comes after the 3D printed light kit that I was deconstructing from Amazon. This was probably like a year and a half after that, where the side hustle still kept getting bigger. I'm like, why do we even have a light kit? Like, why is this thing separate from the scope? Like, why can't we not just put the light in the scope? And so I started tinkering around with an idea of just integrating the light to the scope. And you said, you know, how were your roommates with all this? Most of them were very supportive, and they had been at Georgia Tech forever. I transferred to Georgia Tech. I tried to save money to stay in state as long as I could. And I transferred like 2 semesters in to finish my degree. And they had all known of this. I didn't even know of it. Inventure Prize, I know a lot more about it now. It's actually the nation's largest undergraduate invention competition. Started at Georgia Tech. It's now all ACC colleges. And it's very much like a startup competition. Now that it's gotten larger, it's not just an invention competition. It's like a startup competition.
It's like Shark Tank.
Yeah, very Shark Tank. Right. And so all of my friends like literally had to force me to enter into it. I'm like, fine, I'll do it. And that's one of the reasons why I needed Chris's help with some of the marketing and pitching and storytelling. And I just happened to like blind luck find myself in the finals. They take 6 finalists. It's Shark Tank. There's 3 judges, live studio audience. They broadcast it through Georgia Public, whatever. And, you know, they do the whole makeup. It was the whole thing.
Were you apprehensive to like enter because of like what this thing was? It was like so niche that you're like, this is like an archery thing. People aren't going to get it.
You know, one of the things I've always struggled with is like being kind of self-conscious with just archery. Like, I'm like, why? Like, this is, you know,
you're not loud and proud
about
about
like a huge like thing. You know, all of the other things were medical devices.
Yeah.
They were like
Right.
massive apps. They were, you know, huge like pieces of like very useful like construction equipment or whatever. And I got my archery gadget. So I was always very like,
I could see that.
Yeah. And so, but from the outside looking in, all of my friends were like, no, you have to do this. Like, you'll win. Because I guess they could see the passion, right? So I entered in, and, you know, I happened to win the competition. And that was in 2018. That was the deciding factor for me, that this is not going to be a side hustle. This is going to be like my full-time career. I clearly have some sort of entrepreneurial something in me. And so I jumped full in. In winning, you get $20,000, no strings attached, seed funding, patents, and acceptance into their startup accelerator program.
Oh, it's just big.
So I immediately dove into Georgia Tech's like entrepreneurial ecosystem. And that was a huge, like, life-changing thing for me.
What do you think you'd have done if you got second or third?
Planes, right?
Yeah.
Like, would you have given up on it?
I was so the thing is I had my dream career lined up. I'm a nerd.
You said it. I didn't.
I
was thinking it, but I wasn't.
We didn't say it though. We were being nice about it.
I was. But now that you threw it on the table,
so
I'm gonna run with it.
Yeah.
My degree was material science engineering, and I was very much into aviation, commercial aviation. I wanted to be a material scientist on the internal fan blades of commercial jet engines.
Oh my Lord.
The most specific, weird thing.
So
Yeah, why so
specific.
specific?
I just love planes. Weird thing. And
He has a little plane tracker on his phone, and anytime he
I can
sees one
tell
up in the
you,
air,
like,
he'll,
if
Oh,
a
really?
plane's
stop.
overhead,
Yeah.
like 9 times out of 10, I can tell you what it is.
Wow.
And once again, it's maybe the engineering, the mechanical engineering, all of the stuff that goes behind like a plane is just fascinating to me. Like that thing should not be in the air.
Yeah,
But-
it's a magic trick.
How does it work, right?
Yeah.
So I
The
had
difference
that.
between you and I is I'm just chalk it up
like,
to like,
cool.
oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
a magic trick. It's
Yeah.
really cool. You actually go and digest why it's flying.
So
I'm just like, I wish that damn thing was on time.
yeah, right.
That too.
It's like I wish mine had better TVs in it.
Yeah.
It was old.
And so I've literally like every pound you can save in a plane like equates to dollar signs. So my whole brain was analyzing how do you save weight, how can you make efficiencies, like. So, but anyway, I had my whole career lined up, like my literal dream position at the right company, had everything, paperwork signed, and it was a lot for me to make that call and go, hey, like I'm not going to be working for you guys anymore. Like I got this side hustle thing that's
This
really
archery
taken off.
This archery thing.
Yeah, and it was
Light, it's this
Have you guys
light
heard
thing.
of a compound bow? I'm gonna go that route.
And the lady was so funny. She was like, honey, you go be successful. She's like, when you make it big time, you call me. I want to go work for you. So that was kind of a good feeling.
Does she work for you now?
No, I should go find her. Yeah, I should go find her. Yeah.
Yeah,
But if you got
that'd be-
second or third,
that'd
do
be
you think you would have done that?
If I had got second or third, I probably still would have gone with Ultraview, honestly.
But if you got out early,
If I didn't make it to the finals, it honestly, I probably would have like said, found someone to kind of run it and just go through it. It would not be probably what it is today, for sure. It may still be around. It would probably be 3D printed grip still, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, because when Ultraview was the light kit, and then very quickly I started thinking like, well, what else can I do with a 3D printer to sell gadgets? Now there's some things you can do with a 3D printer and it works fine, like grips, enclosures to light kits, release accessories. There are other pieces of equipment that don't work great if it's 3D printed, right? So we were like grips, knobs for releases, finger accessories, light kits. So we started making all those, and there was a point in time where we're like, do we want to keep the name Ultraview? Like that was just the name of our first product. Like what should we name this entity that we're creating? And we didn't think about it too long, but a couple weeks, and no one could come up with a better name than Ultraview, and so we're just like, well, screw it. It's
just
Ultraview.
keep it into UV now. I feel
Yeah,
like more
UV
than
now is
anything.
kind of like the shorthand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
I bet
Yeah.
you're stoked you stuck with it.
Oh, dude.
I am.
Yeah.
I mean,
I am-
it's
Story.
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
a great story, great brand.
And it all happens for a reason when things fall in line like that. And should be the name, right? It's the very first thing you sold. It's what made the
Right,
company.
yeah. Right.
It should be the name. It
Yeah,
just kind of all
and-
happens.
I don't know. Like seeing what I'm doing now, I love working with other entrepreneurs. I love being still involved in the startup programs at Georgia Tech, and I have a lot of great connections still from there. And even just like, I love coaching new like startup founders that are just starting at like the college level. But then on the other side of that, like I love receiving mentorship and being coached. A year ago, I was in a pretty dark spot. Like I was really struggling. Like it was tough because I had exhausted all of my resources with just business mentorship. Like I didn't really know what to do next. So I did some soul searching, and I'm now part of, it's called Vistage. It's like a CEO like organization. Once a month, you all get together and you coach each other on what's going on and help solve issues. And it's been another really big, fire under my ass to keep moving forward, know what's next, receive mentorship and learn. I just love learning and growing and figuring things out.
Gotcha.
So.
You lived in Georgia at the time? Or you weren't
No,
living
I
in
never
Georgia?
lived in Georgia. I would just go down there like
just go
months
down
at
and
a
visit.
time.
Yeah. And you were in Michigan then?
Michigan.
Did you go to Michigan
Yeah,
State?
Michigan State for 5 years. And then one day it was an advertising class and it was some video project and I was like never in class because I was
hunting.
Yeah, like I wasn't big into school. Anyways, I like crushed the project and she was like, you need to you could do awards and like put it, and I'm like, I'm fine. She's like, why are you even in college? And I'm like, I don't know. So I dropped out. I never finished.
Really?
Yeah, my professor said that. Yeah. It said that, and
How much did you have left?
12 credits.
No way.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I do wish like you're fine. You're
I
fine.
love that I didn't,
But
because I'm totally like against the system type of guy.
Yeah.
It's like I don't. Nothing I got from the only thing I got from college is like some good friends and mentors. Education, I don't think I got anything. I mean, it was just.
Are you building your YouTube channel and like that side of things at the same time?
Yeah, so
Ultraview's kind of building and you're working together at the same time. It's like, it's almost like when I see the two of you and like the chances I've had to it's like so congruent. You're working like different avenues into like different types of the business, but then they link back together so seamlessly.
Correct.
And like they work so well together.
Super successful.
Yeah, I agree.
All the projects we work on together.
And each side helps each other.
Yeah, it's
There's
very
content marketing
synergy.
and the engineering on the other
very
side is perfect.
serendipitous almost.
I mean, honestly, had we been located in the same spot, like we may even be like business partners.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but typically you see there's a lot of synergy. You'll find like two partners that complement each other really well.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, maybe in a different life that would have happened. But.
Yeah.
Were you looking at him building his YouTube channel and working that route and going, what are you doing?
No, I mean,
no.
His first videos I loved. They were great.
Early on, I just really took to video and film and editing. Like I really I enjoyed that, and I still enjoy that from time to time. So
What do you like about it?
the storytelling and the building something and then watching it back and seeing it. I mean, no different than a product or anything else. It's like you are building something start to finish. So that's really why I did it and why I enjoyed it. Started out doing fun videos, whatever, when I was like 15, 16. So I don't even know when that.
I mean,
long time ago.
Go back and look at Chris's like YouTube page. Scroll
God.
all the way to the bottom. Scroll down the bottom and just go, wow, who is that kid?
Yeah.
What made you pick up a camera in the first place, though, in high school? Like,
I just enjoyed it. And then when I was, a funny statistic, I think I was 15 until just a couple years ago, every single thing I shot with my bow was on film. So it was like 40-something animals. So it's like self-film all through high school and college until finally like a camera guy and stuff. So it's like I was very dedicated, obviously, to do that. But it was very for fun. I just enjoyed editing. I enjoyed making like, short little stuff. But it was sophomore year of college when I was, everything else going on. People were starting to maybe, do bigger YouTube channels and stuff like that. Like in the whole fishing world, it was like huge and gigantic at that time. And I'm like, man, I'm going to try. So I was registered for classes like that fall. And I think the last date you could drop all those classes was October 10th without getting like penaltied or whatever. So it was like first week of October. I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. I dropped all of my classes that semester.
Did you tell your parents?
No.
This is my college. I'm behind this college experience right here.
Did not tell my parents.
I'm behind this.
I booked like 3 out west over-the-counter trips.
I remember this.
I paid some kid like $1,000 to follow me around, and we got we just went for it. Like during that time, I like carried a balance on my credit card.
At what point did you tell your parents?
I think like November.
This is my college experience right here.
They were confused. Yeah, they were confused. They weren't happy. They wanted me to go to college for sure.
I love how you said they're confused. Yeah, they weren't happy. Then he followed it up with they weren't happy.
How did you tell them? Over the phone?
Forget. It wasn't
email, text message.
I don't know. It
Snapchat.
it was definitely, I'm sure, in person. Like I went home a lot. I'm really close to my parents, but it was if I didn't just do it, they would for sure.
Did you ever have a situation where you played it off like you were still going to school?
No, I don't think I ever lied. I just don't. I just don't think I
didn't tell
I
the-
told
You
the
just
full
avoided
truth.
it? Yeah,
Just be as vague as possible.
Yeah. But I went hunting like, every single day and filmed everything. And we filmed like 10 episodes or something and we posted them and they got a little bit of traction. And I was like, okay. At that point, I was established like on the tournament side. So, I was shooting technically professionally, like made the Vegas shoot off at that point, shooting collegiately. We went internationally.
Did you make the Vegas shoot off your first year you shot it professional?
No, I shot at 899 though. Damn. When I was 16. I shot 300, and then the final day 7th and 3rd arrow. Still know it.
899.
Yeah, 899. It's the youngest kid up there. It was like last 20 people or whatever.
15, 16.
16. Wow. That's when, at that point, obviously we go to these tournaments and everything. You see the same people and booths, and you're walking by and you're like, hey, whatever. Well, one guy, Mike Looper, who's the VP of Hoyt at the time, really nice guy, and he would be the guy. He pays attention. He's smart, and he saw us and our scores. We talked a little bit, and on the end of the second day, he came down and handed a blank Hoyt jersey, but it had pro staff, but no name on it.
Mike wanted to make sure his shirt was in the shootout.
Yeah, exactly. But then I was like, oh, wow. Like, that meant a lot to me right there. And then that was like, okay, like, we could definitely go this way. So
You were shooting Hoyt?
Oh, yeah. I shot Hoyt for 10 years.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So that relationship, and that goes back to the whole relationship thing of being in the industry and knowing people for so long. Like, that's when I really started. So when I was 16 until now, I mean, a lot's happened between then. But in college, that relationship grew, and actually it grew on more of the marketing side. So like I helped run their social media for like 2 years. So I was like Hoyt bow hunting, Hoyt target archery.
I forgot.
I know, ran it all through college. Learned a lot. So we've very much learning on the business side of things. We go out there for launches and stuff like that, and work with those guys, and they're great. And then kind of got my stuff going, and. I really think that moment sophomore year was my kind of moment, like an adventure prize moment of like, okay, we can actually maybe do this. So I started taking it a little more seriously, actually paying people and, doing that whole deal. Made LLC.
Either of you ever
like
have a plan to like make money off of anything,
No.
either thing that you were doing?
For
Still
sure.
haven't figured out how to.
Like in your mind though, you
Oddly
were
enough,
like,
that is the hardest part.
That's the hardest part. Yeah. Everybody starts a business because they think they're on the top of the totem pole.
Yeah.
You're on the bottom
complete
of the
opposite.
totem pole.
Yeah. Like, you don't pay yourself. You sacrifice everything.
You're the one doing all
Yeah,
the sacrificing while everyone else is building their careers.
And it's the tough thing. The tough thing too is like what the general public doesn't really see that Chris and I have poured our entire lives into this. Every penny's gone back into what we're doing to the sport. I mean, we have an archery problem. I've never had, I never had any money growing up, and I got my first job to pay for my archery problem.
Yeah.
And every penny has still gone into archery. And now it's developing products for archery.
Yeah.
Right. And, we're still relatively young. I mean, we're not even 30 yet.
Yeah.
But we almost have a whole decade of, investing into this sport.
Yeah.
Because this is
More
our
than a decade.
lives.
Yeah, I like to tell people that, like new young guys out of college and stuff. It's like, have you been doing anything? Like no, like I just want to start. And they're like 24. I'm like, okay. I was like, I started when I was 16.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta, and then you gotta grind for 5 years before anything actually happens. When I tell people like YouTube and media and stuff, it's like it takes 10 years to really say you got something going.
Yeah.
And I think that's with anything. I mean, I even think with Ultraview now, it's like we still got so much stuff floating around. And
The business since the magic mark is 7 years.
Yeah,
like
there's
7 years is when
yeah.
you're going to know if you have something or don't.
Yeah.
So you have a 7-year unknown.
you're doing okay.
Got 2 months to figure this out.
I hope the wheels don't fall off. It's like being married to 7-year itch.
Exactly.
You make it 7.
That's great. I've never heard that. I've always just guessed 10, but 7
it's
makes
always
total
been
sense.
the kind of that magic number in business where if you're in flux, 7 years is when you're going to know like what you have, and how big it could be, or if you
should give up or continue.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It is.
I mean, it's 7 years of risk. I mean, you as the business owner, like you said, you're the one that's walking away with nothing, while everybody else walks away with something that built their career, or built their what do you call it? Piece of paper that give to everybody.
Right.
Degree.
Diploma.
No.
I don't even know.
Resume. That's where it is.
There we go.
The college dropout.
I clearly didn't do much with a resume, but that's you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Everyone else has work on their resume, and
Yeah.
you're leaving with nothing and a lot of debt. You know, that's
Yeah.
what you're leaving with.
It's tough. I mean, I've had a lot of I've had several panic attacks thinking about all of the shit that could go wrong.
Yeah.
Like this MFer.
You're allowed to say that.
This motherfucker. Oh God, this is a story.
In the nicest way
this is all.
possible.
Do you even
I'm
know
like-
where this is going? You're gonna know where this is
Probably.
going.
I'm working really good on like layering. You know, it's like, oh, that's really great.
Yeah, Chris is where. Yeah, so this is 2022. This is like the 2 weeks before UV button launch.
Okay, I know it is.
We're actually
We're in Texas.
just talking about this. We're doing our dealer tour, so we got to kick this back up again. We got wildly busy, just haven't had time to. For 2 years, we did a dealer tour, and we bounced across the nation, going to some of the coolest shops. You know, they're still on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, they're crushed.
I love
People
those,
loved them.
by the way.
People
Yeah.
loved them.
Yeah.
And actually, we stopped off here for one, I think, and then we
didn't
just
make one, but we stopped because we were at who's right down the road.
not hit or miss.
Impact.
Impact. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's when we saw this facility for the first time. Anyway, we're just finishing up the show. The whole time I'm kind of showing these dealers the button behind the scenes, going like, "Hey, this is what we got. Super exciting." And I'm looking at, you know, we got all of our shipments of parts in to make the production run. I'm looking at our accounts payable. It's 4 times higher than I had ever seen it before. Looking at our cash balance, it's like nothing. and I'm talking to Chris. I'm like, Chris, on the plane, like back, like our last flight, I'm going crazy, like biting my fingernails. They're bleeding, like stressed out. I'm like, Chris, how many of these buttons do you think we're going to sell? Meaning we're already pot committed on what we ordered. Like this is water under the bridge at this point. And Chris is like, you know, I think we should just plan for, you know, conservatively just as many of the hinges that we're selling, you know, like, I'm like, dude, that we can't, that's not good. That's not okay.
It's not going to work.
That's not
Literally.
going to work. So then for like the entire week leading up to that product launch, like I'm pulling out my hair. I'm like, we bought way too many buttons.
Yeah.
Like this, Chris doesn't think, and you know, everything was just fine. Like it popped off.
I remember when this was
Great.
happening. Do you remember texting me? And you're like, "How?" I remember you
How many
texting me
buttons?
and
That's
be like,
because I was wildly stressed
how
out.
many do you think?" And I was like, "I think you're going to be really surprised. I think they're going to crush."
Yeah, so it's because I was going crazy. So yeah, we launched the day, you know, the day of launch. I got home and maybe lost my shit a little bit, but collected myself, got back on the feet, and kept hammering down. And it was tough. I remember launch day, literally everybody, engineers, marketing, everyone was in production. We were making buttons.
Yeah.
You know, I was at one of the final like quality control station where you would test it, put the clamshells on, and then test it again before it was done. And I remember I was working right next to, actually he's Greg. He still runs the button station today. I was working right next to Greg, one of our assemblers that's been there forever. And I was like, son of a bitch, like if this doesn't go well, you know, we can't run payroll. Like Greg's going to lose his job. And the entire day, like I'm working next to him, like losing my mind. Like how, like what if?
Yeah.
And got home that night and like just lost my shit. And then, you know, sure enough, it was wildly successful.
We sold out of all the inventory in
crushed.
2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks or something.
I mean, 1K has been one of the first products where, thankfully, because Victory was the partner behind it, you know, we were able to really stock up on inventory, because inventory has been, like launch inventory has been a variable of our production capacity. Hiring, training, you know, quality control, facilities, OpEx, like, you know, investments, it's a lot. Victory's handling all that for us. So it was literally a purchase order and a number is all we had to figure out and send out. And Steve Greenwood's like, I got you. And so traditionally when UV comes out with something, button, slider, you know, hinge, like
Something with a lot of
everything,
moving
everything,
parts. Yeah.
every launch is like we come out and if you're not on the website in like the first hour, it's like, well, it's a 1, 2, 3, 4 month delay because it just rips off, right? And 1K would have been the same story. But with honestly, Victory's been a great partner. We were able to really bolster the launch and get ahead of it. And so that was kind of new for us, but it's been a kind of a dream, them handling all of the, Chris said when we were going through the tour, he said, remember we thought about fletching and building the arrows ourselves in-house. And we would have fallen straight on our face.
Yeah.
We would have failed miserably.
Yeah, it's a lot of logistics on
Oh
that.
my gosh. So,
Yeah, that's something you need to be set up for well in advance to actually take that on.
Yeah, I mean, like, I kind of did it just half of my sake and half Ultraview's sake, like do it internally for our small batch stuff. And we had a room about like this with tables all around it and a couple guys like fletching arrows, and like 3,000 arrows later, we were like, we are not doing this anymore. It's like, for sure
That's
not.
a hard no.
We pushed back launch 2 weeks because Victory was still kind of spinning up production.
Yeah.
And I remember I was texting Chris. I said, Chris, your best arrow guy, how many arrows did he push out? How many dozen arrows did he push out in a day? And I was like, I was running the numbers on, how many Victory kicks your ass, by the way, because
I'd hope so.
I ran the numbers, but I was running the math.
Like
I said,
12 dozen in a day.
How many people do they have on our arrows? Are they making them fast enough? They need to make them faster. And so we decided they weren't able to. We were a little, behind for some logistics and shipping and issues. So we pushed back 2 weeks so we could get some shipments in. But yeah, it's a lot of work putting those things together. Yeah. And to see their facility, we were just, I guess you weren't there, but wish you were. That'd have been awesome.
That would have been cool.
Probably 3 weeks ago now, I was telling you guys I was at their facility. They run a tight ship, man. Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, the quality, the steps, especially on this arrow. I mean, I was like, when I was on their ass about, you guys got to get your numbers up. Like, we need these to launch. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what? And they ran us through all their quality. It's unbelievable to see every step and everything that they're doing. Everything's hand done. The only thing that's not hand done, let me think on this before I screw myself. The only step that's not like hand done or hand checked is the straightness. Steve Greenwood is a savant with arrows. He's been in the industry forever. He developed a laser straightness grading thing. So you throw a vein, I'll show you the video later. You throw the arrow on this like automated spinner, and it has 4 laser gates. Maybe it's 3. One on either end and one in the middle. And it's spinning, and as it's spinning, those lasers tell you the active straightness or run out of the shaft. So you can see, is it on the front? Is it in the back? Is it in the middle? And this is how they sort V1, V3, V6. And so they run them, literally every shaft's ran through this straightness grade twice, laser grade, everything else hand done. Fletching, they weight sort, so they'll get a pile of arrows, and they have literally I saw the lady that does it. Like they'll weigh the arrow, look at it, and then they weight sort them into the 6-packs. Mm-hmm. Each 6-pack's within half a grain, and they'll weight sort them all right there. They're hand cut, hand fletched, hand wrapped, and just the attention to detail.
Some crazy stuff too that I could probably you wouldn't even do. I forget what he was saying about squaring up the end of the arrows, and keeping them.
I learned something from this process. Actually, we learned a lot from this process. When they're installing like that, the insert in the front of the arrow, the first batch they did, they cut to length, installed, epoxied in the insert, and they kind of just leaned them up somewhere, or they set them down on a table.
Oh, for sure. I know where this is going.
Yeah. And then you
have to store them completely vertical.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you get different wall. You get glue on one side or the other, especially if the glue's.
So then they spun them, and they had some wobble. So thankfully those were 30-inch arrows, so they could cut it off, and they could fix those. So now they literally made like a custom vertical jig where they epoxy in the outsert, they put it in this jig that keeps it vertical and all that. So
yeah, I learned that one day building arrows. I'm like, this is kind of weird.
I kind of always stand mine up dang near vertical. I wonder if that's why I don't have problems.
Yeah.
Maybe I do.
Maybe you're just a better arrow builder.
I want to talk more about arrows. I want to know why an arrow.
Yeah,
an arrow was like the last thing. I'm like, okay, Ultraview, you've got a slider sight, which is pretty sick.
Chris,
you've got some releases.
Yeah, I think I could probably tell the story.
It's to me, when I found out you were going to do an arrow, I was just like, really?
No, we know. Yeah, it's
I would have never thought you would have done.
I'm
on
the same page as Trail. I was wondering I was going to ask the exact same question.
I think this goes back to
why an arrow?
Like Kolby and I working really closely together. It's like obviously when we have opportunities that pop up, we work together really well on them. So arrows, I've never signed with an arrow company personally. I've always bought a lot of mine, tried everything, talked to everyone, and I've always kind of landed back to Victory probably 2 years ago or something. So I've gotten to know Greenwood really well, and he's like, telling me all these crazy things, and he loves explaining everything, and I've learned so much through him. And he's like, wait,
the guy's a genius.
He's like, we got to work together. We got to work together. We got to work together. I'm like, all right. He's like, would you ever do something, custom? I'm like, well, it's like, maybe. And then like, I think we talked and we're like, okay. Cause I know me alone, like I couldn't get to the volume or the scale that probably they would want. So I was like, okay, maybe we can do this. And then we all jumped on a call, and then we were off to the races from there. But in Kolby's mind, on the Ultraview's sake, has always talked about an arrow. I remember back in the day, you even wanted to make one purple, an aluminum shaft, and make it completely purple.
I forgot about
a 23 or a 27 and run it as a small batch.
Yeah.
So Kolby has always talked about arrows just because of how unique and precise, and it's the projectile that you shoot. So there's a lot of interesting things about it. So yeah, there's just a lot of synergies, I think, with this product. And of course, with Victory's help, it was a very much partnership that it was a big lift for especially engineering off the gate, but on the production side of things and helping it with that, it was pretty seamless. So I think it worked into our category super, super well. And I think you can probably touch on just like the ethos of Ultraview, like what we kind of strive for.
Yeah. So to dig in, I guess, to start on why an arrow, and the straw that broke the camel's back for me on an arrow was, let me back up a little bit. Our mission with our products and our product strategy and what we do is we don't want to ever sell the most of anything, right? We want to have. Why
this is so? I was going to bring this up, but like it's opposite from what most people want to produce the product, sell the most, sell the volume, make the most money.
And so we, if we have, the number one spot on market share, great, but that's not the goal, right? So the goal is to make the best product. And now in modern day UV, it's make the best product for the passionate bow hunter. The guy who identifies as a bow hunter, the guy who, when it's rifle season, they're still taking their bow into the woods, right? So make the best product in every category for the passionate bow hunter. And so once a year we do these, we don't really kind of do them now, but we kind of do like a retreat jam session type thing. Most of the time it was offsite, like we'd rent a Airbnb and we would just shoot the shit and bring our bows and just think and talk and see what comes out of it. And we generally discuss everything. And we kind of always danced around every category: arrows, sights, releases, grips, all the categories. And when I really started shifting my attention with my archery from like competing and really getting into being more the bow hunting scene, shooting tacks, going on hunts with Chris, and the business kind of expanding into that division, I remember I just needed arrows. Dude, I just needed arrows. And so I'm online and I'm just trying to figure out, okay, I just need some quick arrows. I want them to be quality. I don't want to shoot shit. And I could not figure it out. I could not piece together for a myriad of reasons. Whether it was I just couldn't figure out does this come with points or not, or does this come with an outsert or not. And then I'm like, okay, it does come with this outsert, but I don't like that one. I want this one. Shit, that one's out of stock. All right, so I'm gonna go to buy this outsert. I like those points. They don't have 100 grade points. Can't buy it. It's like it was almost impossible. And I'm like, fuck this. This is broken. This sucks. It frustrates the hell out of me. Why can't I figure out how to make a damn arrow? And then I started looking at, what are guys like Chris doing? What are you doing? What are the freakishly bow hunter guys doing? What are they running? Everybody had their own custom built arrow. They were without a question upgrading the components. They were without a question putting a wrap on it. They all had quality fletchings, with a helical.
Yeah, bits and pieces.
Right. And I'm like, okay, there's a huge problem here. Huge problem. And that's when, around the same time, you were talking to Steve about arrows. And I said, Chris, arrows suck. Ultraview is doing, I didn't know what it was. Ultraview is doing something with an arrow as one of our next major products. We're going to dig into this problem. We're going to work on it. We don't know what the solution is yet. We still have a blank canvas. Like, we haven't really identified what are the major pain points, where are the opportunities for improvement. And we really couldn't start that process until we had a partner. I mean, it's like Arrows.
Victory made good sense.
Yeah, it's not.
They're the best. Yeah,
It's like arrows are like half art, half science, and you got to know what you're doing with arrows, and you have to have scar tissue.
You know what's funny too is there's probably not. I mean, maybe besides actual bow brands, there's really not anything that's as hotly contested or debated that people feel as passionate about as arrows.
So many opinions.
Man, people love to nitpick and talk arrows.
Light, heavy,
FOC, vanes, 4 versus 3, Nox. No, I mean, all kinds of shit. Titanium, aluminum. I mean, where do you land? People are tribal about arrows.
And so that's exactly. It's like we wanted to come out with, it's still kind of opinion based, right? But we wanted to come out with the best damn arrow ever made.
Why 4.5 millimeter?
So, because we could.
Because you could. I mean, part I get it, but what? I mean, it's kind of like.
Well, I think when
not
Steve,
5, it's not 4.
Steve was like, "Hey guys, like we're doing this from the ground up." It's like, "What do you want? You want 4 or 5?" And I forget when it was or where we were. It's like, we can do anything.
Well, this is the blank canvas thing, right? So it wasn't like we just picked 4.5 mil because we wanted it to be proprietary and new, right? We realized if we're including, and this is the root of 4.5. Like, let's just nip this in the bud right here. If you're including premium components in the box and everything is all designed as one system, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What the size? It could be 4.1, it could be 5.2, it could be 4.8, could be 5, could be 4. And so we're like, well. The diameter doesn't matter because we don't have to worry about compatibility. So why don't we just throw that out the window? And with this 1K material and components that we want to do, why don't we just design the most optimal size?
Find the equilibrium point and then reverse engineer the diameter.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, what we did really prefer
You're sounding like an engineer over there now.
It rubs off.
He's going to get into CAD pretty soon.
He's been in enough board meetings. He's picked up the lingo.
Yeah, that came off. I'm like, oh, okay, you are an engineer too.
But we did know what we wanted, which was we wanted it to be as small as it could be while maintaining very durable components and shafts and all of that. And so we just we necked it down as small as we could. And we just kind of
very attractive GPI, because whenever you go to a 4 millimeter, your GPI
you have to up your GPI to keep it as small as it is, but you could grain sprint and keep it stiff.
But a lot of people think like, oh, it's a super small arrow, it must be light also. It's like, no, it's actually quite heavier than like a RIP TKO or something. So we wanted to still keep it in that mid 400 range, unless you're like Craig texts me, he's like, I got a full length arrow because he's got a 33-inch draw length at a 250 spine. I think his came in at like 520 or something like that. Yeah. But besides that, you should be like mid 400s, high 400s right there, which is ideal and perfect. And I've talked about that forever. And you're probably right there too, right? Yeah. It's just.
Do you think the larger arrows, like larger diameter arrows, are also easier to tune? Have you ever noticed anything like that? I just remember like the old gold tip pro hunters, or you know what I'm talking about, like the 246s.
I've never messed with those.
That was an arrow that I could always put through anybody's bow.
I will say,
you kind of lost out on like some of the advantages of like the micro, and then it just didn't do as well in the wind. It didn't penetrate as well, but it was so much easier to tune. And I never knew if that was a relationship to like the actual diameter of the arrow.
I shot a lot of 4 millimeters.
Yeah,
like the Procoms and VAPs and the VAP TKOs. And then I went to the RIP TKOs because like, why am I shooting 4 millimeters?
Yeah,
I'm like, it doesn't really, like, what am I gaining here? So then I made some 5 millimeter RIP TKOs. I shot like incredibly well. We had this conversation too because we started doing these, and Kolby's like, "How are they doing?" And I'm like, "Good. Like, I don't see anything wrong." And typically, when it's good equipment and you're a good shooter and you got everything good, it still should be good or slightly better. Yeah. It never should be worse. And only when it's worse are you like, oh yeah, okay, there's a problem. So when you a guy like you or me pick these up, he's like, yeah, I'm still shooting like really good. And you throw broadheads on, it's like, yeah, that was really quick to get good. So that's how I felt with the 5 mil. So that's when we kind of were like, do we need to go down to 4? It's like, no, let's find that sweet spot right there. But then, where guys are like, the components are all different, and we get that. It's like, no, it's still the same field point. It's like any broadhead works on it. It's still a 4 millimeter knock. Like
the knock's 4, which is big.
So it's like, we got a collar on the back for the knock, and of course our outserts custom.
Yeah, and I've seen now that we've read a lot of comments on these arrows, or at least I have. Probably
Don't
shouldn't
read the
be.
comment section.
Probably shouldn't be.
But arrows is so controversial.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
like a
And
broadhead.
so everyone's like, oh, it's the same shitty.
I read your comments just for fun. I was like, I want to
It's the
explore
same
this.
shitty 4 mil componentry, and it's like what they're forgetting is it's the premium stainless steel core aluminum outsert, but the core is larger than a 4 mil. It's I don't know what the percentage is, but it's much stronger than a standard 4 mil component. And so we've seen, and really the largest innovation was the 1K material,
That's what I was going to ask next.
which ties everything together.
Which is why Victory is so. I mean, they are the carbon people because of just how they who
Are they not
work
using
with.
this in any other arrow?
No.
So is it a different carbon or a different weave?
It's a 1,000th weave, so it's a 1K weave.
So it's a smaller weave.
Smaller weave, and the TKOs are a
3K.
3K weave.
Yeah.
So
3K
you
on
can
a
see that
45.
it gets bigger, and ours are super, super tight. And I think they have a patent on that. So
Yeah.
no other aero company
The
can do
parent
that.
company of Victory is they own one of two maybe vertical supply chains on carbon, and this this material
in the world, I think.
globally,
Yeah, not just
globally, and this
It's a
material,
little business. Just
Yeah.
tiny,
little,
tiny,
yeah.
Arrows are like the bastard child of your company.
Exactly. Their medical side is probably just
Gone.
astronomically
But
big.
you say that, and one of the things with this material, there were two big concerns with this 1K material, because in our launch film, I think I say something like, just give us your best material. We literally were just like, what's the best material you got? And we have this 1K, but we've never really come close to it because cost and because of the supply chain. We can't, we're not sure we can get our hands on enough of this material to make this. And then we were like, well, we want it. So then one of their first hurdles that they had to get over was figuring out, can we even get enough of this to make arrows? They figured it out. Steve Greenwood literally hustled his way through all their sister companies and procured the whole supply chain of 1K for arrows. Step one was done. Step two was the cost. Obviously these aren't cheap arrows, but out of the gate, if we didn't work on lowering the cost, these would have easily been $250 a 6-pack, if not more than $250 a 6-pack. And you can see that the cost was really, how do we make this very streamlined? How is the production rate very high and efficient? And you only have 001 arrows. That's a result of the 1K material, the size, the 4.5 mil size, the ratio of the wall thickness to the ID to the OD. And so when they're making these things, it's something like 97% of everything off the mandrel is 001. So there's very little scrap in the manufacturing process. And there's 3 SKUs, which arrows, guys, think about this. If you're going to put an arrow together, vanes, nocks, wraps, outsert, collar, shafts, you have hundreds of SKUs that you could pick from. There's 3 SKUs with this. So the efficiencies and the synergy of having it be one whole system, you get a lot of simplicity in the supply chain, economies of scale, which lowers costs. So through all of that work, which is behind the scenes work, we were able to bring this ultra premium 1K material into archery at scale for really the first time at a cost that's competitive. If you look at maxed out, if you're upgrading components and putting all the same stuff in a standard VAP TKO, RIP TKO, top of the line Easton Gold Tip, whatever, you're already at 200 something to 6-pack.
We did the math on it.
Yeah,
today.
we did the math.
Yeah.
We wanted
just
to be
don't
prepared
add-
on this.
People
Yeah, can
don't
we-
add everything together.
I mean, while you're there, let's talk cost because
Yeah,
it's
you guys
really
wanna get into that?
it's
I would love to get into that.
We hoped you would.
I almost texted you
Do you
yesterday.
open
and I
your
was
laptop at this point?
I almost texted you yesterday. I was going to say, hey, I'm going to ask this question just so you know, just so I didn't feel like I caught you. But it's like the elephant in the room, right?
Oh, I
And
see.
I'm sure you guys have read the
price.
comments and
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Price.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. We did it with a Sharpie on a cardboard
Oh, I
case
love that.
earlier today.
Yeah,
You
we
love
did it.
my document.
This is our form of documentation.
Yeah, we did it earlier today.
show
But yeah,
you.
I mean, talk to me about price.
This is ours.
And the other,
That's more than us. That looks like an engineer
Yes.
ship.
Yeah.
I got
This
a
looks like a
follow
hunter
up.
who
I also
only
have a
cares about
follow up
hunting.
question as to volume, why 6? Why not 12? Do you want to answer that one first?
Yeah, I would say 6 because a guy's going to buy a dozen. He's going to break 4 of them, and then he's going to want 6 more. And 12 months from now, this is still going to be a product. You can go online and be like, I'm 300 spine, 28 inches, delivered, open up, knock on your bow, add it to the rest.
What about for guys like me that are like, maybe pessimistic? What's the word I'm looking for? They question. I'm like
skeptical.
Yeah, skeptical. That's it. Yeah, like
I was going to use a different word, but we'll run with skeptical.
Asshole. That's
We'll run with skeptical.
what am I? Asshole. No. But yeah, like, how do I know if they come out of the same hunk of carbon? You know what I mean? It doesn't matter, in your opinion.
Like we got into this conversation earlier. It's like buying factory ammo for the people who do shoot factory ammo. You try to buy as much as possible out of one block,
batch.
so you know you're getting the same batch of ammo.
Correct.
All the way through, so you can shoot it for years to come, right? Like that's what we all do with our guns, is buy at least 100 rounds all from the same batch, so we know.
Yep.
So
Any validity to that when it comes to arrows, carbon shafts?
Well, personally, I'll tell you, it definitely doesn't. The human error at 100 yards, I could cut.
I shoot dimes.
A bunch of different.
Trail doesn't miss like you, Chris.
I could cut.
He knows that's a lie.
Shave off several, make all the arrows like a 16th of an inch different. And just whatever, and shoot them at 100 yards and notice no. I mean, I'm just saying, it's like the human can never be as good as these. It can never be as good as even an 03, or,
even a
it's like, or less. Where this really shines is in the tuning and just the giant broadhead, stuff like that. But the human tolerance, I mean, we go down some crazy rabbit holes to that.
Well, and the other,
so it's not as impactful as ammo.
Well, and the other thing
for sure not.
Right, yeah,
It's
right.
For sure not.
You're running max spreads on ammo between different batches of like some very meaningful numbers where you're going to have to resight in.
The difference between ammunition and arrows is you can reuse arrows. You can shoot the same arrow multiple. You can't reshoot the round, right? So when you look at the use case of arrows, guys really are only using 6 arrows at a time anyway. Like even if you look at the quiver on a bow, like you're not going to put 12 arrows in that. So when you look at the use case, and this is, I think, how time will tell, but when you look at kind of the buying cycle of 1K, I expect, and we've already seen this, guys will load up with 12. They'll buy 2 6-packs out of the gate. And I'd imagine we'll just see guys, rebuying 6-packs once or twice a year. And they'll generally just kind of use the
buying 3 dozen at a time. 2 weeks later,
I've been
more
through
3 dozen.
Right.
I shoot in the desert. It's different out here,
That makes sense.
Yeah, you're generally only. I mean, even if you're shooting, you're not going to pile 10 arrows into one dot, right? So you're generally only shooting 6 arrows at a time. So I imagine what we'll see is a lot of guys will load up at first, so they have them. They'll, like you said, they'll drop in. You're not going to shoot a backyard squirrel with this, right? Like this is for.
I definitely would.
Okay. I mean, I
for sure would. I probably shouldn't. Yeah.
I don't know.
And so I don't know. We'll see over time, but.
So what about cost?
Costs. All right. I can't wait to get into this.
People. I mean, initially everybody. Kind of the comments I've read, like, it's a ludicrous amount of money for arrows.
I'm curious to hear. Like, we haven't talked about this yet. What did you guys come up with your back of the envelope math?
So
your analysis.
My arrow, exact arrow, which is VAP TKO Victory, wrap 3 fletch, same as he shoots 4 fletch, but my 3 fletch setup, everything is 28.14 an arrow.
What's that, a 6-pack?
So 28.14 an arrow. Yours is 38.70 an arrow. Now, what that doesn't take into consideration, though, which if you see our side notes right here in the Sharpie on the cardboard box, is that doesn't take into account the fletch jig. Doesn't take into account all of the components that you need to saw, epoxies, glues, all that stuff. And then most importantly, time. Yeah. So that takes nothing into account for all of that. But it's 28.14 in components.
Right. We've talked about this a lot. I mean, we talked about it a lot prior to launch, and we've talked about it a lot after launch, because every Ultraview product is a premium product. It's like we're not just coming out with. We're sitting on a lot of products that we're like, we're not going to come out with this because it's just not really doing anything. Like we just remade something, and it's like it's not impactful enough. And that's why with these, proprietary carbon,
Mm-hmm.
and it is not for everyone. I think that's the biggest thing, is that, especially me digesting it more, someone was even like, how do you expect everyone to get into bow hunting? It's like, well, we're not saying that at all. I mean, this is a Raptor. A 16-year-old kid should be in a Honda Civic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's actually a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
honestly.
like this is the most expensive
A Plymouth Horizon.
car.
That's what I had.
Yeah, you know what I mean? No, it's like there's levels to everything. And I just made a YouTube video kind of like diving deeper into this. It's like there's levels to everything, and this is the premium level. This is not for everyone. We're not expecting everyone to buy this. But if you really care about your stuff and you really care about your time, then this is it.
Yeah.
But if you can't and don't want this, there are plenty other good options. And Victory's got a whole lineup of everything else. And if you really enjoy still building arrows, because I know a lot of people do that, it's totally fine. We're not like saying we're not.
You
we're
can
not.
Where
cut
are
it to
these
length and install your insert.
I don't like it.
I'll give you my I'll give you my take.
But so the cost and value is always directly correlated to what that individual's getting out of it too.
Yeah. Sure.
And so kind of how we thought about it is this applies to whether it's a VAP TKO, RIP TKO, X10 Parallel Pro, Platinum Pierce.
That's Trail's favorite arrow.
Pick your top of the line. Pick your top
I
of the line.
got 3
arrow.
left. If
That
you
was
want to shoot those
facetious.
into an iron
So
buck
everyone
today.
knows that was facetious.
I'll say it hands down, softest arrow I've ever shot in my life.
Super soft.
I'm talking baby soft.
Yeah.
Those things are the least durable arrow.
It's a target.
I'm shocked.
It's a target arrow.
It's a target. Yeah, it's
I'm
made to
shocked
win
that
gold
people are
medals, not-
considering taking those bow hunting after what I've seen with the dozen I bought and shot.
I got about 8 broken sitting in my shop.
And I'm okay with saying it because that's just realistic. Like, I bought a dozen, I built them out. I was really excited. They were consistent. They shot great holes through paper. They break on just about everything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to run you
Shooting
through
3D.
my fancy little engineer chart.
Okay.
So any of those shafts I just rattled off, they vary anywhere from 112 to 125 a 6-pack bare shafts, right? You're then going to upgrade the components. You're going to put a match grade on it. You're going to put a stainless steel aluminum on it. You're going to put a titanium on it. That alone is anywhere from $26 to $30+ a 6-pack. Then, what does this call them?
Yeah, like mine.
I'm tracking.
Mine is the
Easton
TI
half ounce, 4 millimeter
half
half
ounce.
So then, whether, to your point, whether you had bought an arrow saw or fletched it, or you're paying somebody else to do it, it's most websites are about $1 a shaft for component install, cut to length, fletching, and all that.
That's what we are.
So add $6 for component install, cut to length, or that's just component install. Add $7.50 for wraps, about $15 for a dozen wraps.
Yep.
Add exactly 18 veins for $6. Add cut to length, all of that. It totals up to $1, $1.99 is this total. $1.88 is another total. And what you're not getting though is this 1K carbon that has nothing. The veins and the wrap system and everything was all designed to work together. The veins alone are custom veins. Like these veins alone by themselves are an innovation, and they're best in class for veins. Strapped onto a best in class 1K carbon weave, that is all designed to work together for $20 more.
Yeah.
Like it's negligible at that point, So I mean that's kind of how we looked at it, and I'm not kidding. The price point in my dealer pricing that I put together for the longest time, it was $250 a 6-pack, and then we're actually the linchpin to that was when we got the straightness, the straightness on this shaft. When we realized we did not need to support a sub 001 series, and we only had 3 SKUs instead of 6 in straightness grades. That was really when we could get enough efficiencies to really start cranking down and make this a little more accessible.
I'll give you my take. My take right out the gate, sticker shock. I was like, shit, that's a lot of money for 6 arrows, right? And hands down, I was like, wow, it's a premium price. I would assume that it's a premium product, right?
Yeah.
Like you, that was my gut reaction was like, wow, it's quite a bit. Then I started thinking, okay, I'm going to put this component in the arrow that I build, right? I'm going to square the end that I put in the jig that I then cut the other end, because I'm like squaring both ends twice as I cut and build, which is, I hate building arrows also. I should preface this. I absolutely loathe building arrows. It's like a full day to build a dozen arrows for me. Like I'm hours and hours and hours building arrows, right? So then I'm going to also, get vanes. I got to figure out if we got them in stock. I got to get those. I got to get glue. I got to make sure that my glue's not old and that it actually sticks. I got to clean each individual vane. So I'm taking a Q-tip, and depending on the vane, if it's a Q2I, I'm using water. If it's a boning, I'm using acetone. So I'm cleaning the vane, I'm cleaning the shaft. Nocks, separate nocks, just to get the best knock fit for my string. I'm using, an Easton insert or, another aftermarket insert with a different shaft, whether it's a gold tip or a Victory. So I've got all these things. I was thinking about that. I'm thinking about the individual cost of the components. I'm thinking about how much I absolutely loathe building arrows. And I'm also thinking that I'm also a person that I just have never been super comfortable with somebody else building my arrows. That's why I build my own. But then pulling these out of the box and having a chance to look at them, they're hand built. They're clean.
Yeah.
Really legitimately so clean. The vanes look great. There's no extra glue hanging off the sides of the vanes. The wraps look good. The insert system looks fantastic. Cut to the length that I gave to you guys, that came in exactly. I haven't had a chance to go through and weigh each of them, but I did spend a bunch of them as we were this morning just in my hand. Super straight. And so as I'm thinking all this through, I know what my process is. And again, I'm probably the guy that you're talking about. I'm not the guy I'm not buying a dozen, pro hunters or whatever it might be and just slapping factory inserts and whatever and just going hunting. It's what I like to do. It's what I'm into. And as I thought about it, I thought, this is completely worth it. This is a no-brainer.
I had a guy, we sent a 6-pack. We seed a lot of people with them or whatever. And he was, very in depth with his current arrow that he shoots with. Did all sorts of stuff with it. He's like, hey, dude. He's like, I'll try them. He's like, let me shoot them. I'll do some public testing live sort of deal. And he did, and he just sent me a text this morning. He's like, I'm gonna shoot these this year. He went through a total. He was like, wow, these are expensive. I'll never buy these. I would like some more. I'm gonna shoot these.
Yeah. And I've seen everyone that takes them out of the box has had that same reaction.
And I will say, there's some other good arrows. There's some really good arrows. I've been playing with some Black Eagle arrows.
The new ones?
Yeah, the new ones, the Focus arrows. Awesome. I've been playing with those. I built a dozen arrows, 2 dozen actually. They were really, really, really great. Nice arrows. Legitimately nice arrows.
Yeah. It's interesting though.
It's a good product, but I'm telling you, there's I'm putting a lot of time and effort.
Yeah, you're very not you're the guy.
Yeah, I am putting a lot of time and effort, and I guess I would just go back to this. Initially, the sticker shock was kind of a gut punch, but then if I get really realistic with myself and the time that I put into building arrows, wholeheartedly and truthfully, I can tell you it's totally worth it.
It's one of those things.
It's completely worth it.
Yeah. Once you confront the brutal facts of shit, I was spending that. We've put all of the premiumness in the box for you already and have already done all of the work for you. And when you do that and add it all up, it's shit. I'm spending that much money on arrows anyway.
Yeah, it's harder to do in one than
Well, and what's more fun than building arrows besides everything?
Yeah, literally besides everything. Is shooting the arrows.
Shooting the arrow is pretty great. You know what I mean?
There's nothing worse than building, when I built those half dozen Black Eagles. Okay, now I got to wait to shoot them.
Yeah.
Now they're just sitting here curing. I got to wait to shoot. It drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I would love to just take an arrow out of a box and shoot it.
And this is not us saying, this is by no means us saying all the arrows on the market are shitty and this is the best one. There are a lot of really good quality premium arrows out there. We have a lot of respect for Victory, Easton, and everybody else in the industry. And whether you're a guy who's, you're an Easton guy, great. We have a lot of respect for you and what you're doing. We just wanted to solve this problem that we saw in the market with it, you know?
You solved a problem for me. I am the guy that I mean, it is expensive. It's not like I didn't notice that, but immediately my mind went to, okay, now I don't have to do any of this shit.
Yeah.
Like this
And
is
still get something
and
premium.
know that it's
Yeah.
premium. It's an arrow that would have been built the same way I would have built it.
Yeah.
Like it would
Like,
solve
and
all the
here-
issues for
yeah,
me.
I mean, here's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, let's get real. Stuff's expensive. Nice stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if you're buying a Kafaru backpack or Stone Glacier backpack,
$700.
it's expensive.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay for it. If you're buying Swarovski optics,
You're gonna pay for it.
You're expensive. But when you look through those things, you're like, my lord,
Yeah.
It's different.
my life changed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
And that's what this is.
Nice
Yeah.
stuff is
Yeah.
expensive,
Yeah.
but it's expensive because you get value out of it.
Correct.
I mean, there's like certain categories of our own gear that I always tell people, if you're going to pour money into something, pour it into this thing, because this thing, and an arrow, I would say an arrow is something that, like, you're going to spend how much on a Matthews lift? $1,500, $1,200?
Bare bow, baby.
Yeah. just bare bow.
Bare bow, right? You're going to spend that, but what's the actual thing that's going to
Well,
go through an animal?
An arrow.
An arrow.
I always say sight, arrows, and like, really a sight is the biggest thing too. You can transfer over to bow, to bow,
Sure.
to bow, to bow, to bow.
Yeah, good value.
It's great value. Yeah, like you can continue it on.
Just
and
like
it's-
an optic on a gun. Same
Correct.
thing when you find the one you
Yeah.
want, you can
It's a good
switch it.
investment. Yeah.
I
Arrows
mean,
are the same
I
way.
feel that way about a lot of like parts and pieces. Like,
Yeah.
I think everybody should have a good sleeping bag. If you want to pay,
Yeah.
Sleeping bag was the first.
you want to
one
pay
I bought.
$750
Yep.
for it, buy it. You're gonna have it for 30 years,
Forever.
Do you know what I mean?
and we've in this niche archery industry, we've always had this barrier of entry. Whether it was the Ultraview 2 scope, it was like if you just looked at it as a scope, it was twice as expensive as any other third-party scope out there. But same with 1K, same with slider, same with kind of everything we do. Everything you need is in the box. Everything was designed to work together, and you get a lot better of a product as a result. Scopes, they came with a light, an integrated light, had a quality metal housing, the cartridges on the target scopes, it came with a lens, it came with dock kits, it came with fiber. And when you put everything in a box that you got to buy anyway, and then you put a price tag on it, it's like shit. I'm spending that much anyway. And it's hard to see,
Yeah.
right? And we have always fought this, but then what we find is when people actually experience it and go through using our products, they're really, really happy with their experience. And yeah, the price tag is there, but if you really look at everything else that you'd have to put together to get that same thing, you're not going to get the synergy. Like an arrow, to my knowledge, and I don't know, I would love someone to correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I don't know of any arrow from truly nock to point. Every component was designed together by one entity, knowing what every variable was going to be so that everything could be optimized to work together. Like,
Probably not. And
Like-
probably the vein.
the
Not
vein,
veining
even
not-
down to
not
the
the
wrap.
vein,
Like, listen to how anal this is, Trail. The wrap. We call them kind of like our center of gravity. None of this matters.
I love the look of the wrap.
Well, it looks one thing, but there's
got the
two-
wow
two main
factor.
I was going to
things.
ask you, what's
Yeah,
just?
so-
I knew Kolby. I'm
So-
like, there's no
This
way.
wasn't
we all
that
Bruce.
this is just a
We
cool
all said that.
looking
Yeah.
wrap.
Brady and I had this conversation where I was talking about how cool it looks, and he said the same thing. And Brady goes, "There has to be a reason
Yeah,
they did
there
that."
is. Yeah.
Do you want to? Do you want to? Or do you want me
Sure,
to want
yeah,
it?
and I'll be the first guy to say I was super skeptical about it, and we tested it, and we wanted to make sure it worked, just because of the look and kind of this front end that would maybe get peeled up or whatever else, but it does not. So we call it a chevron. It looks cool, yes, but whenever you do an arrow wrap, you wrap around and then you have a slight overlap. Technically, there's a little bit more weight on one side of the arrow now than the other side because of that little tiny overlap.
Yeah.
So what we did is we created a little more material on the opposite side over the overlap so that technically it's perfectly symmetrical on weight.
So the
Yeah.
radially, the center of gravity, we actually threw it. So Chris was like, he was very apprehensive and skeptical about this wrap design at first when he got his first set.
Yeah.
And then we're like, okay, well, why do we want to use this and whatever? And then one of our engineers, Bruce, threw it into CAD. Like literally, he threw it into CAD and looked at the actual center of gravity and the concentricity of it. And when you have a normal wrap, it pulls it out like 2,000ths of an inch from the center of the shaft. And then when you, I don't know if we removed or added material. I think we actually removed material on the wrap, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So when you rebalance that, it shifted that center of gravity back to the middle of the vein, to the arrow. So like, does it really matter?
I knew there was a reason.
But like, that is that attention to detail on the wrap. I mean, a testament to my team on that product side.
Yeah.
They spent that much time, if not more, on every other piece of this arrow. They went as deep as you could go, and they've optimized everything.
The O-ring and the field tip.
Unscrew the field point. It's just so satisfying.
Yeah. So anybody that's ever watched me shoot, the first thing I do, I pull an arrow from my quiver. I go like that.
Tighten it back up.
I tighten it back up. I knock it and I shoot it.
I've yet to have to retighten one of these.
Do they come with field points then?
Yeah.
And this people
Why don't arrows come with points?
It is really frustrating that they don't come with field points.
Yeah. That is frustrating. And people have done this O-ring thing before, but what did we do different that made seat fully?
Yeah, I'm not like fully up to date on that. I'd call
There's something novel about what
from
they
what
did
I've
here.
noticed looking at components. Typically, what you find is the O-rings at the very end. So, So typically, now I could be wrong here. I guess I'm quoted on a podcast, but don't quote me.
Okay.
Typically, you see that this O-ring is seated on that 90-degree angle on the point, and that kind of just tightens up the last little bit. So what they did here is they actually made a groove that is slightly, this O-ring is a little proud from the outside diameter, so it has interference, but there's room enough in here for it to squish down. And actually, O-rings are kind of the secret sauce behind all of our products, which the anti-backlash system in Slider are O-rings, pushing up against a cone and providing that spring force. So really creative engineers there, but it seats over this O-ring, about 1/8 of an inch before it's done being tightened. So the last 1/8 of an inch is really, really snug before it's down.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Veins. Who came up with veins?
That was Bruce, Zach Harris.
Actually, just
little
shout
bit of
out
influence.
to Bruce Zach Harris. This was his baby project.
Yeah.
Did you put him on that and you're like, all right, your job is veins?
No, like the whole thing.
The whole arrow.
Oh, really?
He was our
Working
senior design
alongside
engineer. That
with
this was
Victory.
his project. It was a team effort, obviously.
Yeah.
But the ownership and accountability kind of fell on Bruce on this one, and he did a really good job.
He designed the vein. I mean, obviously we had characteristics of what made a good vein, and I will say the first batch that came out were small, and we were like, okay, we got to bump those up because we need a one size fits all for these arrows. Like they need to be able to shoot fixed blades, mechanicals, be quiet, still be stiff enough. So this is true. It's a one size fits all vein. For sure.
And it's funny because for us in designing the vein, a metric of success was not like the sound. We really just looked at drop over long range, group size. We did a lot of group testing. Oh, you're going to love this trail. You're going to love this.
I already love this. I'm having the best time ever. How many hours do you got?
So we have it's a resin 3D printer.
Oh, yeah.
And you can print any type of material you want. Flexible, heat resistant, hard, soft, different durometers, and it uses ultraviolet lasers and full Ultraview spirit. You can get super high tolerance printed parts. And so we got a flexible resin in, and literally every day we could test a new vein design. We'd run the printer overnight, and then we're in a big business park like you guys, so we have to wait till after hours till we can shoot 100 yards, 120 yards out back. And so every night they would go out with a hooter shooter and test a new vein design. Bruce's office is about half this size, and he has an entire wall full of, I think we were
clear
using
veins because of the resin.
Yeah. We tested, I'll have to send you a picture. We tested some planes have the, plane nerd.
Yeah. It's all coming back full circle here.
Baby.
Yeah.
So how some planes have this little bulge at the end of their fighter jets, you see they have the bulge at the end of their wing. We tested a bulge, a little wing tip. We tested hole patterns. Anything you can imagine we tested, and they really just settled in on this one. But like I said, sound wasn't wasn't a metric, and yet what you find with this is it flows through the air so well, and it's just so well controlling, and the surface finish material, it is quieter. We didn't run any tests on it, but if you're shooting through a tunnel at TAC or indoors, like everyone that shot these, like PJ Riley with Lancaster, he's like, man, these veins are so quiet. What'd you guys do? And I'm like, well, we didn't really do anything specifically to make them quiet. They just happened to be really quiet, but they are also designed to work really great with broadheads. This new 1K material, like everything was designed, you know, as one whole system.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we have a friend that's an F-16 fighter pilot. We'll have to get you out there.
Yeah.
Oh, you would love that.
I would
yeah.
lose my mind.
It was pretty incredible.
We spent a day out there at Nellis and got to climb up and look in the planes and sit and pick that guy's brain for a day. You'd probably dig that.
When I was like in 4th grade, I had like 3 dream jobs, and for some reason I thought I was going to be able to do all of them at once for my profession.
There's still time.
Sounds like somebody in 3rd grade.
It was a fighter pilot, like a fighter jet pilot, the captain of a cruise ship, and a school bus driver.
Oh my goodness.
Don't ask me why.
You should have kept those to yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
There's only one of those that's like out of touch. The other 2 are completely doable.
Those are my aspirations in 3rd grade.
You can still do
Ship
those.
captain.
Your birthday's in April?
I think I just got off we did like a family like carnival cruise or something. I don't know.
I
I don't
honestly
know where
can't
that
think
came
of a
from.
worse job.
Oh my
than
God,
a cruise
that'd
ship
be
captain.
terrible.
I'm definitely sending you a captain's hat for your birthday.
But no, I would totally love
the
to
love
meet
boat.
that guy.
Did you guys
Oh,
get
he's
the
awesome.
robes?
No.
The what? What was that?
There's so many stories, Chris.
I didn't get one, but I knew they were sent.
You guys are on the list now, but like Christmas presents to like industry friends or whatever. He sent robes out.
Somebody
one
got
year.
my robe.
I was in a really big like spa kick. I was really stressed, and I'm like,
Self-care.
I'm taking some self-care. I was at the spa getting some massages. I'm like, these are great. I love this. This is awesome. And I was literally leaving the spa, and I'm like, oh, that robe looks great. And I'm like, idea. We could get these embroidered and give them out as our company Christmas presents.
Somebody has my robe.
You know what's funny is like
I remember you telling me when they got sent. Somebody got mine though.
Oh, actually,
Yeah. Somebody here got them because somebody told me that they got. Yeah,
That's
I did not hear
hilarious.
about this.
yeah. It was back when Todd was here.
Oh,
So somebody got my
while back.
robe.
And it's been the best Christmas present because everybody can't stop
Well,
talking about it.
everyone talks about it. I don't know
Yeah.
who uses it. The most used, I think, someone got out of it. Derek Nelson.
Oh, for sure. I
They
can
go,
see him.
they go pigeon hunting in it. In the snow.
Because it's white. It was a white robe with black UV.
He just puts it over.
We were
Hunts out of it.
we were actually
awesome.
Oh, it's so funny.
we were just I think it was at a TAC event or something. We were just hanging out with some of the Matthews guys, and one of them like privately like pulled me aside and he was like, "Hey man, I gotta ask, like, was that robe like a joke, or was that like serious?" I'm like, "That was dead serious."
Did you love it?
Yeah, that's not a joke. Yeah,
I think I'll look for my robe then. Maybe Christmas of 2025.
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
Christmas
Good stuff.
presents are
Yeah.
funny.
I don't know how we got on this road. Anything can happen,
Yeah.
I guess. Jeez.
How far out are we from having like replacement parts, veins, things
Never,
like
never try.
Never. You just
gotta buy a whole
buy a new arrow.
Just buy a new 6-pack. So I was literally on the flight here. I saw some chats come in. By next week, we should have refletch kits, hopefully available. So very soon on those. And what the refletch kit is it's a pack of wraps and veins, enough to refletch a whole 6-pack. Now, one of the things, I actually haven't confirmed this, although I'm pretty confident in this. The wrap is not the chevron wrap. It's just a standard rectangular wrap for a lot of reasons. It's very difficult to actually put this wrap on
Precisely.
this
We have a
arrow.
jig.
They're like Victory. We made custom jigs for Victory's production, and it's coming with enough to do a 6-pack because we thought about it. People aren't going to be refletching these, one or two at a time, and we actually advise against doing one or two at a time because you're never really gonna. One of the things you want to have for sure is your 6 arrows you're shooting are consistent, and so it's very difficult, especially if you didn't have the jig that fletched these
with
to
the same
exactly match
offset.
them. So in going through that process, we're like, well, guys are going to be refletching a whole 6-pack at once as 1, 2, or 3 start to drop out. And so it's coming with enough of these UV veins to do 6 arrows, and I think it'll come with 7 wraps. Those should be out hopefully next week.
Gotcha.
On the component side, we will probably offer components loose. I'm not really sure of the use case because obviously you can't put it on any other. And actually, these components, you'll notice, Trail, these have one little like halo ring on this outsert. Each outsert is custom to the spine.
Yeah.
So we don't have like one that spans 3. Each one has its own. Points, those will be loose pretty soon as well.
Pretty cool.
Knox, we run the Halo Knox on these. We have Halo Knox is kind of what we're recommending
Lighted
alongside
Knox,
them.
Oh, gotcha.
So
And you have the collar in the back, it looks
Yeah.
like. Yep.
Yep.
I like the, I didn't even notice, but I opened the box today. This one shot, one kill. It's a piece of marketing genius. That
Really
looks
is.
awesome.
I think Taylor came
Yeah,
up with
Taylor
that.
had that.
Taylor
one.
did?
Yeah.
The 1K is
Good
so,
on you.
1K is a play on words. I mean, we
Yeah.
can.
1K carbon. It's a 1K 1,000th of an inch straightness. Some guys in the comments are saying it's $1,000 for a 6-pack. And 1 kill, like
You love the internet.
he just had that
Do you
idea.
guys do that? We do this. So we go through occasionally from time to time, and we pull.
That'd be funny.
Yeah,
to
we
do
call
for
them
We
this
do mean
one.
tweets.
We call
Yeah.
them mean tweets,
Yeah.
and we read them. So that's always a good one. If you guys need some content,
that'd
you
be
can always
funny.
read mean tweets about yourself.
Yeah, but no, it was a really fun project. I mean, working with Victory, those guys are great.
Yeah.
I mean, there's stand-up guys. They are just, just like you and Chris Trail. Like they are freaks about bow hunting, and they are bow hunting constantly. Their mind is constantly on it, and they just do a lot of really great work. And I remember over the last several years, I've seen more and more and more people shift into their arrows.
Victory. Yeah, it's becoming.
And a lot over the last couple years, and it's because there's good stuff.
I can't believe how many victories were at Utah Tech.
Yeah.
It was unreal. It was 9 out of 10 guys walking up their bow quiver was
I think
all
the
victory
Rip
arrows.
TKO is now the most sold arrow. I think.
Do you shoot your buffalo with this?
Yeah.
Is that the first animal that anybody killed with one?
Yeah.
Or did we shoot some does or anything else?
Yeah, that was.
Chris is like he always has first blood on.
Does he?
on
Is that what
anything
he
new,
lays
yeah.
dibs to?
I got first blood on
first blood?
the lift too.
Oh, you
Pretty
did.
sure.
First
Yeah.
blood. That should be your like slogan.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
That would fit.
Yeah, no, I did, and I'm always the guy to push limits and stuff, So it's like heavy arrows, rah, rah, rah. Like I got there, and the outfitter's like, "How heavy is your arrow?" And I'm like, 440, 2. He's like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it'll be fine." He's like, "Okay." And it was. I mean, it buried in the fletchings. The first shot just barely poked out the other side. But yeah, I mean, I sent you the photo. I think I sent you too. The hide. I mean,
was
it's a Cape
unreal.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's incredible. But yeah, it did good. I mean, obviously shooting. I think poundage is way more important than a heavy arrow. If you ask me, like shooting 80+ pounds is way more important than shooting a 500-600 grain arrow.
Sure.
So I went that route, like 82 pounds with this arrow. Did fantastic and got it able to shoot out to 100 yards with big giant fixed blades on it. And
What broadhead did you shoot? Fixed blade?
I shot a 2-blade fixed blade. I could work with G5 and everything, but the outfitter would not let me shoot anything but a 2-blade.
2-blade
Yeah.
fixed blade.
Yeah, so like a 3-blade Montec. I wanted to just shoot a Montec. I mean, I shot my moose with it. It would have been fine.
Sure.
But yeah, he made me shoot a 2-blade. So it did. I mean, it did good.
Yeah.
It was fine.
Another thing, Trail, look at the veins. So they're molded, right? So
Yeah.
you can work in 3 dimensions. You can see that cut out like that deboss.
Yep.
Also, look at the tip of like the front and the back. See how there's that radius? It's not a 90-degree sharp corner, like
It's rounded.
right here where it's normally sharp and it'll grab things.
Yep.
So now, like if you shoot through a target or something, the likelihood of this peeling off is just not as high. Like little tiny benefits of molding. There's a lot of neat things you can do.
Interesting.
So
What else you guys gonna do? Where's Ultraview going? Where's Chris B going? What are you doing next?
I want to hear about this buffalo.
Oh yeah, we should.
Yeah, so I shot the thing at 40 yards.
You were in Australia
Australia
3 weeks ago?
2
It
weeks
was
ago.
over TAC, right?
Week and a half
over
ago.
Utah
and
Tech.
he's already been he's constantly somewhere.
Yeah.
I got back on the 28th.
How was it?
Week ago.
How was the hunt?
It was cool. You know, for some reason it was always on my like short list of things. Travel sucked. It was 4 planes. It was Des Moines to Denver to San Francisco to Brisbane to Darwin. It's 30 hours of flying seat time. Not even like layovers and stuff. Just
did you raw dog it the whole time?
Yeah, just directions of the
perfect
back of the seat.
Just alone with his thoughts.
I think the record on Instagram for raw dog right now is like 26 hours or something.
Really?
Or more.
I could have beat it. Dang it.
I should have live streamed the whole thing.
Could have beat it.
No, that part was terrible. And then we landed and we had like a 6-hour drive into camp, but the camp was awesome. We had like Starlink in camp, and but it was the bush. I mean, we were way out there, running on generators and everything. And then from there, it was like truck hunting. So a big part of the adventure is like we had this old Land Cruiser over there, the Toyota Land Cruiser, stick shift, and like it's a hunting truck. Like all the windows are busted out of it, windshield's busted out. And we would do like 60 miles a day, but 60 miles on a little 2-track.
Yeah.
It's like we got stuck a couple times and I had to get the winch out a couple times.
Are you cutting tracks, or are you actually looking for the animal itself?
They're just looking for the animal. They're like cattle or bison.
Yeah.
It's a bison family, so it's like you pull up in a big meadow or big swamp, and there'd be 10 or 20.
Yeah.
And so like way out, and you sit, and it was just like it was a lot of trying to find
the one
sort of deal. And
he sent me a couple pictures. He's like, "Yeah, we still haven't shot one." And he sent me a couple. I'm like,
what's wrong with that
"What's
one?
wrong with these?" Like,
That one looks
those
nice.
look huge.
Yeah. So that was a challenging part. The most challenging part was the logistics of just like, even once you get there, like driving around, and it's like we got all of our tracking. Like he had this little GPS thing up there, and he's like, yeah, we just can't get lost because we were 30 miles from main camp, no service, no nothing, and we were just like, what happens like if we get stuck or something?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, typically, so it's happened before. He's like, we'll just sleep here and make a fire, and they'll know that we didn't come back, and they'll rent a chopper, and they'll just start searching for us. So yeah,
That's
I go, it's kind of like that.
yeah.
But they had a buddy with a chopper and stuff like that. They could just in reach, and they just start grid searching.
Hopefully,
for
he's
us.
in town that week.
Yeah,
Yeah,
hopefully.
exactly.
I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
seem super calming. Would be badass, but like not a very calming thing to be told.
I mean, not that I was hoping
You could hike
for
out of
it,
there,
but
30 miles.
Ew, you cannot.
Come on
hike
now.
out.
Is it flat?
Yeah, relatively.
Pretty flat.
Little hilly. Little hilly.
I mean, it may take a couple days.
Yeah, it's the best thing is in that situation is stay put and just keep a fire lit. So
Yeah.
you smoke.
Was it hot?
It was like 40 degrees at night and got up in the 80s. So it's their winter.
Big swing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it
It's
was
their winter,
good.
but it stays hot down there though.
Yeah, it does. The tail end of the trip, the last day was actually hot. At night it got high 60s and got in the 90s in a day.
Yeah, that's hot.
But it was a fun hunt. I mean, I'm very glad that I did it. It was a bucket list hunt.
Worth it?
Yeah, definitely worth it. It wouldn't be a trip I'd want to go back every year and do. It's not like elk or something. But
Yeah.
it was cool. We got like bluff charged a couple times, and you know they know that they're tough, so they'll just kind of watch you, and like they're not as dangerous like Cape Buffalo, but they're like still.
Yeah.
Like one of the guides got rammed over and busted all his front teeth and got charged.
On your trip?
No,
Or
but
before?
prior.
Yeah.
Are you seeing a lot of them?
Yeah, we saw 200, 300
Oh, wow.
buffalo. Yeah, the whole trip. It was cool.
I wonder how many there are down there.
Probably
a lot. I mean, they're cattle. You know, we were seeing wild horses and water buff and scrub bulls, they call them, which are essentially like wild cattle
Wild
that
cattle.
get out and you can shoot those. Donkeys. And
Did you see any of those wild camels?
no, those are down south.
feral
That was like
camels.
the second question I asked him. When I had him on the
Can
phone
we
the
shoot
other
a camel
night.
and can we shoot kangaroos?
Yeah.
I've seen people shoot both those.
And definitely do
Kangaroos,
it.
very illegal up there to shoot. We did not do that, and we could not do that, but I did ask. And camels are not that far north. So
Got it. The camels is the weirdest thing ever to have those
you
wild
see
camels.
that guy?
Yeah.
He just dumped
It was awesome.
him. Yeah.
This is literally like the
was,
first two questions I asked him. Did you shoot a kangaroo? Did you shoot a camel?
Perfect.
Congratulations, nice buffalo.
We're cut from the same cloth.
Almost literally.
I shot a water buff wild boar, like a pig, like a normal wild pig.
That
big
was the
one.
first. That was the first kill.
That was the
wasn't it?
first kill,
Yeah.
technically. And then I shot a dingo.
That thing was
That's
big
cool.
too, though.
It was a
Yeah,
big
the boar
dog.
was big. Yeah, and then
That's really cool.
the dingo is like a dog. I mean, it looked like a dog. Like it was kind of strange. But it's coyote, like it's their coyote, but
It's a wild dog.
it's a wild dog. Yeah. But
Are they just running around in packs?
Yeah, kind of. It was like a pack of 2. And we were just driving. For some reason, they were just like looking at the truck and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to jump out and shoot. And I just shot with my bow real quick.
Yeah. How was the shot on the buffalo?
So I shot it. I hit the video. I'll show you later. But pretty much perfect right behind the shoulder.
How far?
40. Buried to the fletchings. Poked out a little bit.
Money.
And then, classic fashion, I just quiver dumped him. I mean, he was just walking, so I shot him 3 more times.
He didn't even know anything happened.
Next one, I shot him like he was facing me, and I hit him like in right here. Like it wouldn't have killed him, but it like oof, like really hit him, and he couldn't put pressure on that leg anymore. And then, I shot again while he was walking, just like lungs. And then the final shot was 75. It was just perfect. It was like awesome. Big fixed blades and everything on it. So that I mean, Hart shot him there, and then he.
So you had 3 arrows in him? Four arrows in him.
I just kept shooting.
Yeah, of course.
I mean,
hey man,
you got one in him.
It's more fun
like,
too.
It didn't even move.
More kill shot.
It kind of just kept walking.
Like no one even talked in that moment too. It was just like the guy just was quiet. The camera, Damon was just still on him. I was like.
You said it was like 45 seconds or something?
Yeah, I think start to finish was under a minute of getting all those off. Just
wait, you got 4 arrows off in under a minute? Like a minute?
Something like that. Under
wow,
a
you
minute
went ham.
Guy's a pro.
It was fast.
That's
the only thing I
quick.
re-ranged for was 75.
Sure.
Besides that, was just.
You've been on quite a roll lately, like the last, 2 years?
I mean, a while, yeah.
I mean, you did mountain goat, you did moose, you've been to Mexico and hunted whatever those were.
Oscillated turkeys.
Oscillated turkeys.
Caribou last year.
Remember caribou?
Yeah.
Yeah. Elk. You've been on a holy tear.
Yeah. I mean, it's just you guys know how it is, just nonstop. You jam your schedule as full as possible, and sometimes it works out good. And I mean, there's plenty of times it doesn't work out good.
You still liking it?
Yeah, I do. I definitely get burned out, and I get really burned out on the whitetail side of things because I get really stressed out.
Yeah, Chris will like lose his mind.
The thing that's closest to home.
I know, just because
it's
in the most. I'm in most control of it. It's like we have our couple deer that we've been watching, and it's like last night I got home at 11 o'clock because I was putting in food plots. So it's like so much time, and then it's like November 15th rolls around, and if you don't kill anything by then, you're like. You got 15
He goes
days
through deep despair. Like I'll occasionally text him, and he's like in a real dark spot sometimes if he's not having a great season.
Like camera guys getting tired, and it's like just a grind. You're waking up at 4 a.m. and you're going all day, and you're just,
you go hard in whitetail season.
Whitetail's way.
You go super hard.
Mentally, it's way harder than anything I've done.
Yeah,
probably.
I'm not just saying this, but you genuinely are one of my favorite channels to watch. I've loved your videos.
Sweet.
And so I've watched all of them.
Yeah.
You go super fucking hard.
I mean, I'll count, but it's well over 100 days.
Yeah.
Well over 100 days.
I just watched your Powerline 10 video.
Oh, the one, yeah. Austin Thomas did that.
Already getting set up for it.
I mean, we're nonstop. I mean, it is. I mean, I moved to Iowa 4 years ago. A big reason for that was because of the deer hunting. I mean, I love the land management and the farms and everything like that. And I'm working on trying to buy my first farm before this season. But I'm very fortunate to have good friends with like good properties, and we work together on things. And the management side of stuff is really, really the gratifying part. Like you can go and you can shoot a deer anywhere, but
that's Trail and I talk about it too. What's so what is alluring about the whitetail stuff for him and I is that it is year round. It's not just the I have a tag, it's 10 days, I'm going to make the most 100%. Of it. This is like, I mean, you were literally artistically designing how to kill these animals.
Strategical. It's like a 3-year strategy.
So awesome.
Because even if you like put in, like let's say a bunch of switchgrass or something, it's like takes 3 years to get fully mature to then it's actually like working. It's like rotational of crops and TSI work, and it all takes so long.
Yeah,
because it's like the natural.
And you're watching bucks for so long too.
Yeah.
That's the cool part. Like that's what we don't get to do. It's the 10 days, and it's like, okay, whatever happens. I'm gonna kill the best one I can find. But you guys get to.
That's why
watch these animals grow up.
That's why whitetails fun.
And then they all disappear.
And then try to like artistically pull them to where you need them. That's the part that I find fascinating. Is like, how do I get this buck who's living right here to walk this way?
Yeah, because it's. And I think a big thing too is you can get really rammy, just like elk hunting, and you can like get into their bedroom and try to kill them. But the problem is when you have X amount of acres, call it 50 or 500 acres, you have to set the property up in a way one, probably multiple people are hunting it, and two, like the longevity of just like the herd, and you don't want your neighbors killing your deer.
Yeah.
So you have to set up your property in ways that access is really good, so you're not pressuring your property during the season, and then like those actual stand locations while you're in them, where you're winding everything's not jacking everything up. So the long-term season long, you always want your property to be unpressured, but you have to set them up that way so that you're constantly, you got different guys going in, and you're not blowing everything out.
Yeah.
You know, so it's that's the really, really fun part, is doing that.
That's what Trail and I are working for.
It's a puzzle, and I love that.
Trail and I are,
most satisfaction I get in hunting is finding an animal, whether it's an
Killing
elk or a mule deer or an antelope, and then that's what draws me to whitetail just so much. It's just these
And
guys.
year after year, you find his sheds, and he's
Yeah,
like,
these guys
bedded
that are-
on this knob.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
oh wow. Okay.
Finding and targeting an animal, a buck, and he's probably got a name, and people hate that shit, but I love it.
I
It's
love
my
it.
jam.
Yeah,
Like I
it's
think
awesome.
it's so awesome. You got
It's
a buck.
situational too. You're not going to do that another, if you're just going to a state for a week or whatever. But yeah, when you're tied, and that's why it's tolling, because there's emotions. There's so many emotions.
That's it.
Because so much time invested. I mean, it's just like, it's fun.
Trail and I are working so we can retire and do that. That's literally why we're working.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to retire, but I'm working.
But that is what we're working for.
I would love that. Yeah, I
Get huge into
absolutely-
whitetail hunting, farms and everything.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
that'd be the dream, man.
No,
If I could
whitetails.
pick up morning coffee at a gas station,
Oh,
and, 3 a.m. and
The
hunt.
dream.
Oh man,
People
not
always
have to pack out a bull.
shut
that
the
would
fuck
be
up.
nice.
That'd be amazing.
People always ask, like, what's your dream hunt and stuff? And it's like November 9th, like 30 degrees. And it's like here. And you look over and it's like 160-inch buck, like just 15 yards. Like, that's still my dream hunt and forever will be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Do you
awesome.
get goosebumps when you talk about
Oh,
it?
for
I
sure.
did. So,
Yeah.
like, damn.
Especially,
I'm going
especially
Saturday.
if it's like a crafted spot that you curated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like wow, all right, that just
And
came
it worked
together.
the way you had it in your
Yeah.
mind.
Most of the
Yeah.
time it doesn't.
But when it does work the way
But
you
when it
had in
does.
mind, that's the perfect setup.
Correct.
That's why it's so great. It's because most of the time it doesn't.
I'll tell you what, I love late season the best, especially in Iowa or whatever, states where you can run late. So like end of December, January. And when you plant a lot of food, like corn and beans and stuff, and you leave it standing for deer, you can pull deer from all over because, one, it's a lot of investment to get food and leave it standing. And, most of the time farmers, have to cut it and make money off it and everything like that. But anyways, that's the funnest time, is when you can sit and it's freezing and you got all these deer just pouring out, and you can really be semi-strategical, and the deer are like very predictable. That's when it's a lot of fun too. You see 100 deer.
You prefer that over the rut?
I don't prefer it, but when it comes time, you bust butt all November, and then it comes time to do that. And it's like you save all these
nice reset.
You save all these little spots where it's all right. We got like 5 acres, 2 acres of corn here, and it's like we know that's good. And you'll go in there and you knock a bunch off, and you put a blind in, and you sit, and then it's just like it's just fun because you get inventory of all the deer too that live,
That
because
made it,
they're all there, and
He needs an
lot
ERP
of fun.
system to manage his deer inventory.
I'm not kidding. My trail camera program is out of control.
I would imagine so.
Finally, one of my guys got on it just to help manage it. It's a
He's
lot.
got a trail cam manager.
Trail camera man.
It's just he logged
That's
in.
what I need to get to this level. That's what I
right.
need to get to.
My- trail camera
My
manager.
parents are in town this week,
Yeah.
and we were just at dinner the other night, and we were talking about your buffalo hunt. And
Oh, yeah.
Mom's like, so who guts the deer when Chris kills them? And she was like trying to figure out who does it. I'm like, well, they go with guides. They got a whole team when they go there, and she thought you had a guy on staff that just field
That
dressed
dealt
your
with
animals.
stuff?
Yeah, I'm like, no,
That'd be great.
he doesn't have a field dresser on staff.
Field dress.
No, we still get dirty with it. Yeah. No, we still get
I was
dirty.
going to ask you back when you were talking about when you first got started with your YouTube channel. Were
Yeah.
you watching the outdoor channel? Were you watching all that stuff? And,
I think a big thing that I've always done from the beginning is I just don't pay attention to anything.
yeah, and just do it your own
I've
way.
always done my own, and quality is, I always push and push and push. It's like audio needs to be the best. We need to tell the story the best. We need
Yeah.
we need to try to do this the best. And it was a lot easier when it was just me. You know, obviously I would just keep pushing myself, but you know, you get teams and you get guys that come and go, and you just keep trying to get better and better. And so it's still really, really important to do that.
Yeah.
I definitely get burnt out a little bit on that side, the filming side, over and over, especially with just like my own side. Just the business has been like a lot, we're getting more people on and everything, but it pulls me away from, you know, if I got meetings until 11, then we got to film 11 to 2, and then you jump back in, you do something else. It's just like exhausting, you know? So I really want to get back to a point where I can really start focusing on content straight up. Hunting is different because you'd be like, forget about all that other stuff. And you can just you worry about hunting. Hunting's the easiest stuff to film because you just do it and you document.
Yeah, and the story plays itself out.
Exactly. You don't know, you can't script it. You don't know what's going to happen. But yeah.
Yeah. That's what, like you were saying too, Kolby, how you guys throw everything out the window and start from phase 0. That is the best way to do it, because if you start with something in mind, you're already in a trap.
Yeah,
like
you're pre-buying, biasing yourself.
The paradigm hasn't shifted yet.
That may not work great.
Yeah.
And I think I used to have all these like crazy ideas and everything for like the media side of stuff. And I think it's like you get in a rut sometimes, or, you know, your creative juices run out. But there's definitely a time to like, I think, do a big reset on everything soon. I think everyone in general is getting a little too comfortable with like YouTube and getting a little like, just when it's like rinse and repeat. Okay, we're just kind of doing the same thing over and over again. It's like it kind of feels weird. It's like we gotta flip it on its head somehow. So I always try to do that. Early on, it was obviously easy to try to break the mold and do stuff differently. But yeah, I try to do it whenever, you know, Outdoor Channel is in TV is the same way. It gets so big and everyone's just doing the same thing. Yeah. But then it's like, what's next? What's the next way of doing things?
So where are you in 5 years then?
We got definitely some lofty goals. The B-roll custom side of things is really, really doing really well.
Good.
Obviously working with companies like Ultraview and whatnot, and putting my little spin on things, and, you know, offering it to people has been really, really well. So we definitely have some big goals there. YouTube, we're never going to shut that off. I only want to elevate it. And I think it's bringing more guys on, because bandwidth is just hard. Yeah. You know, I mean, that is such a I was just explaining this to someone the other day, but it's like, we're a media company. So we are, but we also do all these other things with everyone else. But every now and again, I get those flip-flopped. It's like, no, we're all these other things because we are a media company. You know, it's like, I am a media company, and then we get all these other things because I'm working with companies and selling stuff and doing whatever else, and that's I think a lot of people starting out don't realize is to be able to have longevity in this, you need to have that foundation to continue on and diversify and to grow. And, you know, I really want to get into real estate and some of this other stuff and diversify that way too. We're all, Kolby and I
business
are always
tycoon over here.
No, you guys both are.
Well, I mean, Kolby and I were always just like, it's not like, oh great, you guys made it. It's like, no, it's like we got
you never make it.
So much further to go.
Here's you never make it. It just gets more risky. That's all it is.
Yeah. Well,
until you finally like, you know, sell it, or
it's hard.
If
you ever need to fill that prescription again,
you ever sell it or decide like, okay, we're good here, now let's just harvest it, right? Like until you get in that mindset, which you two don't seem to have that mindset at all.
Yeah.
It's like
the opposite problem.
I will say.
Yeah, me too. So it's constantly you never make more money. Things never change. It just gets more risky along the way.
I really don't care about money. I really care about assets and stuff. So like my goal, and I set this goal thinking that if I did get there, like everything else would be in place. It's like I want to have 1,000 acres
That's
in the
a good
Midwest.
Goal. Really good goal.
So if I can get that, if I could do that, then I've built like whatever is necessary to kind of get that.
Yeah.
So that's my only like big tangible goal. Of course, I have like you know, stepping stones to get there, sort of. And I'm sure when I get there, it'll be like
then you'll want a 1,000-acre ranch in a different state.
Sure. No, I love property from the very start. I shot my first deer with a bow when I was 10. And my dad, being a Michigan bow hunter, he owned a little bit of property, and we dove right into the food plots and the strategy and everything. So ever since, I mean, I remember before I could drive, ripping down, his property right down the road, ripping down there on the quad and just working, just working, doing whitetail stuff.
Yeah, I remember you and your dad would always have a tree stand. Like every year you'd go through and maintenance all your stands.
Yeah, it's ingrained in me for sure. And it's way bigger scale than I ever thought it would be. But yeah, that's if I ever stopped doing any of this, it's because I just went and did all that stuff, you know? So yeah, no, it's very cool.
That's awesome.
It's cool. Thanks for humoring us for so long. I know that was a long one.
No, this is a good one.
We had a lot of questions. We were excited to have you guys come in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have more,
great.
but we'll got to cut it off at some point.
We can ask.
Oh, the clock stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, the clock
right
stops
now.
there.
It times out.
Time's out at 100 minutes. Whoa.
It times out. But we, I know that I talked to Taylor at some point, and I was like, hey, I wanted to get those guys out.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, done. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And
I'm glad we did it in person too.
Yeah, ever since
for
that
sure.
point, I was talking to everybody. Hey, yeah, we've got Kolby and Chris coming in, and everybody's been excited to have
Nice.
you in. So
Yeah.
we really appreciate you taking. We know that's it's a jaunt. So
For sure.
thanks for coming to Vegas.
But I mean, thanks for making our time here, useful too. Like we rolled in and you guys were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's
Sometimes
good.
we're good at that. When we're prepared.
I'm getting better at it. So
Yeah.
when I roll into Vegas, that's how I am.
You
Yeah.
said that.
Chris was like, Trail, we were in the airport before we leave, and Chris was like, yeah, Trail sent out this great itinerary. And I forget what I said, but I'm like, yeah, did you see that one thing? He's like, I haven't read the whole thing yet. And
Oh,
I'm
it's
like,
a novel.
And I'm like, oh, so he sent a whole great itinerary that you just
That you
didn't
just
read.
did,
I'm like, you should read it. There's some stuff in there that you need to make decisions on.
That's okay. I know him well
Where
enough.
my mind went, it was like, oh, they got it all figured out.
Yeah.
We're good.
they'll take care of it.
They did it
Exactly.
right.
Where my
Someone's put
mind
some
went.
thought into this.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's like I can show up and they're ready.
Yeah, you will, and you do. You're great. Anyway, thank you again. We very much appreciate
thank
it.
you guys.
And I guess I should plug. We've got Ultraview products in shop. We've got the arrows, the 1Ks. We've got releases, which you guys make phenomenal releases. We didn't even talk about them, so we didn't have time.
I'm a button guy. Love it.
Yeah, thumb button. I never thought I shot a hinge for ever and ever and ever, and now I just shoot pretty much the thumb button all the time because
Nice.
if I can execute it, I shoot a better shot. So
Yeah.
to me, I've been shooting it. It's a phenomenal release. Slider sight, check that out. We have it in the shop. I'm constantly interested in where you guys are going to take this thing because it feels like it's like arrows. I'm like, arrows?
Yeah.
UV's
Yeah.
making arrows? So I'm genuinely very interested to see where you guys are going to go with it. I didn't even hit our own promo. I'm going to hit it real quick. But
Who cares?
should we wrap it?
I mean, just hit
use
it
the
real
promo
quick.
code podcast. Get yourself an insider account. We'll give you $50 to go hunt gear shop. You can use it to buy Ultraview products. So
There you go.
that's it.
Yeah, thank you guys for
Yeah,
having
thanks.
us out and supporting Ultraview and everything we got going on.
Thanks, guys.